Round one. Fight! The whole thing!
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Tier Ranker Fights. This is episode number 44. Tonight we're going to be talking best Jim Carrey movies. So we're going to be giving them a definitive ranking. So we're going to talk about his funny ones and some of his dramatic roles, pretty much everything. So, and you can follow along and see where you think you might rank certain movies and see if we get it right, see if we get it wrong. So it should be a fun time. It's been a little while since we've done just one actor like their filmography. So I think the last one could have been Leo DiCaprio. So, but I'll go ahead and I'll introduce our panel for tonight. So first up, we got my co-host, Austin Pez Howell. How's it going?
The pen is blue. The pen is blue. The goddamn pen is blue. How's it going, Jordan? Yeah. Going good, man. Jim Carrey's an interesting dude. I'm glad he's kind of out of his metaphysical, I'm not really here, Jim Carrey. You're not really speaking to Jim Carrey phase, and he's kind of back to being himself. But we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. But yeah, it should be a good discussion.
Yeah, we kind of got a few glimpses of his former self once he did Sonic the Hedgehog. You know, he started getting back to the goofier side, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. But we also have joining us, and I never know exactly how to pronounce his last name. He'll have to tell me, but he's the head honcho over at the Magic Valley Cinemas in Twin Falls. Chase Wadapfeld, did I get it right?
Waldefeld, yeah, the P is silent.
Okay.
So, yeah,
okay.
It's a confusing one. Yeah, it means forest apple in German, if that helps. That's easier.
Okay, nice. Yeah, well, welcome. Yeah, we're
thanks
happy
for
to
having
have
me.
you. Yeah, for sure. And then we also have joining us. We have Mr. Jordan Owens in the house. How's it going?
What's up, everybody? Happy to be here. Love me some Jim Carrey. So excited to see where we all fall in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sounds good. I like the little background with all the like Jim Carrey reunion stuff. Yeah. But and then we also have joining us Malcolm Lay. How's it going, Malcolm?
It's going good. I can't wait to shoot down one I'm pretty sure Jordan's going to bring up.
Yeah. I know exactly what it is. I mean, look at my name tonight.
Yeah, same here. His obsession with that movie is unhealthy.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Just a little bit, but I'm proud of it. So, but yeah, we'll just go ahead and jump into it. So, Austin is the coach. You want to break it down for us how it's going to work?
Yeah, sure thing. So Jordan will kind of line us up over on the left here as he brings up the tier ranker chart, and how it works is we've got different rankings, and so we start with S for superior. So anything you think is his cream of the crop, you know, the best of the best, you'll nominate for S tier, and then everything else goes like grades in school, A, B, C, D, F, and basically all of his movies are pretty much on this tier ranker available for nomination. But how it'll work is, we won't go down the list per se, Chase. What we basically do is we take turns, and so we'll start with Malcolm down on the bottom right there. He'll nominate a movie for whatever tier he wants to nominate it for. Say if he wants to nominate something for A tier, and then we'll go around the horn, and everybody will get a chance, about a minute or so, to agree or disagree with that ranking. Maybe say what ranking they think it belongs in, and at the end we kind of come to a consensus based on the votes and see where it kind of ends up. So that's kind of how it works. And then after Malcolm, it'll go to Jordan Owens, and then you, et cetera, et cetera. So, and everybody just gets a chance to nominate something. We'll get through about as many movies as we can in about 2 hours. About the 2 hour mark, we kind of start to wrap everything up with our big Hail Mary round and look for anything last minute. But that's basically kind of how it works. So, and if you need to leave it all, just let us know in the private chat. We'll give you an outro. And but until then, we'll rank as many as we can. So that's kind of what we do. A lot of fun.
And also, we do have a rule that we have to have at least 3 on the panel that have seen the movie for it to qualify. So if I haven't seen a tier there, so if not enough of us have seen it, we might have to throw it in that tier. So.
We make a few exceptions for, especially I watch a lot of the garbage on the tier ranker. I try to watch like the worst movie, some of the worst movies, and just kind of report back. So usually people don't have objections to me of these horrendous movies, dropping them in one of the lower tiers because I'm not shooting for anything super high, but we'll see. But yeah, if somebody's shooting for an S tier but nobody's seeing it, it kind of is what it is. But that shouldn't happen a lot tonight because I think a lot of these movies are pretty well known and most people have seen these movies. So I don't think we'll have too many issues this evening. But yeah, that's kind of how it works.
All right.
Yeah, and while you guys are kind of going through the first round, for some reason, I always like to put the list of all the movies in the private chat. I'll just copy and paste them over there. But for some reason, if I do it before you guys enter the stream, you won't be able to see them. So I kind of got to do it while you're doing the first round. So they'll pop up there. But it's basically
all of his movies. They're all available. So just name one of his movies. It's available. We'll get it up on the chart because there's about 31 on the list. Pretty much all of his major movies are there.
Yeah, and you can see them here. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's it. So we'll just start with Malcolm. You'll be the first one up. So do you have one that you want to nominate first? You can nominate for any tier too. It doesn't matter, good, bad, in the middle, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going for one that's an easy S tier for me. Like, he should have been nominated for an Oscar for this, and that's The Truman Show. The Truman Show is a really good movie. Like, this is one of those ones that I didn't know what to expect when I watched it, but it's definitely in my top 100 movies of all time. And this, just seeing how Jim Carrey reacts to finding out that his whole life has been faked and all that, and it's just interesting, and it's just one that I've always loved, and it's always been at the top for me. So yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Jordan, what do you think for The Truman Show?
Yeah, hell yeah, big S tier for me as well. I love this film. A lot of the themes can still hold up to today. It's a great example too of Jim Carrey as an actor because he is funny in this. There's some great funny moments, but there's some great more dramatic moments, laid back performance as well. As far as like the ending moment and some of the moments he has with his best friend, or is it his best friend? Like, there's some great stuff in this movie here. Like I said, still very watchable. Love this movie. Yeah, S tier, I agree.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, Chase, what do you think about The Truman Show? Where would you rank it and why?
Yeah, I'd say I agree as well. That's definitely up there. That's one I've got fond memories of watching, catching bits and pieces of it on TV growing up. It's a little bit more of a dramatic role, but still has a lot of comedy to it too. And I think he really kind of shows both sides of himself in that movie. So yeah, I'd say it's definitely up there.
Yeah. Sounds good. I'm Austin.
Yeah, the more and more I watch this movie, which I've watched it a lot recently in the last probably 5 or 10 years, I'm quickly thinking it's his best overall movie. As you watch it more and more, it kind of ages like fine wine. It's got everything you want in a movie. It's got adventure, it's got comedy, it's got drama, it's got heartwarming stuff. It's got a great romance that you only get really 2 scenes of, but sets it up so perfectly, and that you yearn for, with him and the girl who was kind of taken away from him. The brilliant thing about the movie is that you feel like you've been watching the Truman Show as long as the people watching the Truman Show have been watching it, and they set it up so well that you feel like you've been a part of this ride as well, and you get just as invested. So yeah, I think the more and more I think about it, the more I think this is his absolute best film he's ever done. So yeah, it's an easy S tier for the Truman Show. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. Yeah, this movie pretty much has everything. It's got drama, it's got comedy. It doesn't quite have scenes where when he's trying to like leave the town that he's in, but he can't figure out why he can't leave, and like he has this whole plan to go to Tahiti and stuff, and he can't. And then at the end, when he finally discovers what's going on, is like a pretty crazy, like surreal moment. You kind of go on a ride with him for that, and then you see Ed Harris there, and then the chemistry with him and Laura Linney, and then his best friend too. I think it's Noah Emmerich.
Noah Emmerich,
that's pretty good too. Yeah, so yeah, it's a fun time. So, and I think that it's up there. Like, it's definitely top 5 for me, I would say, for Jim Carrey movies. So yeah, it's a S tier for sure. So
all right, well, it's a clean sweep for the S tier for the Truman Show. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, good start.
And as we go along, we'll kind of see it. Some of them may get bumped down, some may get bumped up. We'll kind of play around with it.
Oh, by the way, we're shooting for 10 in the S tier. I forgot to mention that earlier, and we pull 3 honorable mentions in the A tier for our poll. So we always go for kind of a top 10 with 3 honorable mentions.
How many total do we have? Do you know how many has he been in?
There's total 31 available on the list. So because he had a few in the 80s where like he either just had like some kind of cameo or like very minor like 8th build role kind of things. It's not really like a Jim Carrey movie. We kind of just pulled stuff where he was a prominent part. Yeah. So and a couple of TV movies. Yeah, we didn't really go with that stuff. The lowest build one we have is Peggy Sue Got Married, just because it's a bigger movie, but he's still like 5th or 6th build in that movie. He's not like a prominent role, but that's kind of the lowest thing we have. Everything else is pretty much he's the star or one of the 2 or 3 stars, essentially. Okay. Yeah.
We didn't include things like he had a little cameo in like Anchorman 2, but so minor.
Yeah, it's not like a Jim Carrey movie. Like Anchorman 2 is not a Jim Carrey movie. You know, like he makes a little cameo. Like it's not. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll throw it over to Jordan Owens. So what do you want to go with?
Oh, if I had to choose a Jim Carrey movie I want to talk about and put in the S tier, I think I might go for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yeah.
Surprise, surprise! Anyone that knows me, I freaking love this movie. I was late to the party. I rented it on VHS at the library because it had Jim Carrey. It had the chick from Titanic. That's how I knew her, Kate Winslet at the time. Great cast too: Elijah Wood, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Wilkinson, Kirsten Dunst. Shout out to her Oscar nomination earlier today. It is, again, there's some really funny, poignant moments. There's beautiful moments in this. Charlie Kaufman, one of the best screenwriters we got going here. I think this is his best screenplay because it is something that you can really sink your teeth into. But there is layers to it. You will see different things, hear different things each time you watch it. I'm at about 30-plus views. I've absolutely fallen head over heels for this movie. It is pessimistic, optimistic, all at the same time. Absolutely love this movie. S tier. What's that? We all agree? Sweet. All right, let's go.
Yeah. We'll see what everyone has to say. Chase, what do you think?
All right, sorry to be a downer, but I'm gonna have to knock this one down to B. I would say. I've only seen it once. I mean, I probably should watch it again. I did enjoy it. I just don't. I don't know. As far as drama goes, it's definitely like probably his best one, and it is a good movie. As far as rewatchability and entertainment value, I think I'd probably put it at B.
30-plus views, very rewatchable.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
Look, while I agree with Chase about the rewatchability and entertainment factor, we say that about Schindler's List, but we still put it in an S tier for Spielberg. So there's a point to be made for Eternal Sunshine, and I watched it recently for a Battleground match. is yes, it's a very depressing movie. It's not a movie I personally put on all the time, maybe like Jordan Owens does, but that doesn't mean I would not put it in the S tier, because it is Jim Carrey's finest role as far as a pure dramatic performance, which he went for it. I think he nails it. And yeah, his chemistry with Kate Winslet is great, and the premise is cool. I mean, a lot of the stuff they do with this stuff while he's laying there, the technology they're using. Mark Ruffalo is a lot of fun as he's kind of playing with the technology and trying to do everything. It's a good premise. I think it's executed very well. It does get better the more times you see it, I would say, and it really smooths out. But just because it's not
7 was the best. Just saying.
Yeah, like it's
watch it again for sure. It's just one of
Truman Show is like my favorite as far as the semi-dramatic that I go back to a lot, but it does not mean that Eternal Sunshine is not S tier. It is still S tier. So yes, I rewatch that more, but I will go with Jordan Owens on this one. Yes, because it is his best dramatic hour.
Fair enough.
Well, I'm actually more along the lines of Chase. I think like the movie just kind of like we recognize that that's great, and recognize why people say like maybe that Jim Carrey should have got nominated for an Oscar for his performance possibly, but like for me, like I think Jim Carrey, like I have a hard time with like some of his dramatic roles, and like this one's it's good. I still recognize that it's good, but for me, like I just don't really find myself going back to rewatch it. Like I saw it once, and I was just kind of like that was interesting. That was definitely like a trip. Like I felt like I was like on drugs or something when I watched that movie. But it was certainly an interesting premise, and I really like the cast. With with Kate Winslet, Elijah Wood popping up, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Wilkinson. Like there's a bunch of some big names that will pop up there, but for me, like I just don't really find myself really wanting to go back and watch it. And even like despite that, kind of like you made the argument, like we don't go back to watch Schindler's List, it's still great. I still don't really put it up there though, like as one of his best. Like it's for me, I would probably say I'm tempted to almost go C tier, but I'll be nice and I'll say B tier. I think
I can't wait till you nominate Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls for S tier, but not Eternal Sunshine. I cannot wait to eviscerate you for that, Jordan, and I can't wait for the comment to eviscerate you. I cannot wait for that.
When Nature Calls is better than Eternal Sunshine. Way better.
Rewatchability is not a factor for not putting it in S.
Well, Requiem for a Dream is an amazing movie, but it's not a movie I go rewatch 1,000 times. But it doesn't mean it's not one of the great movies.
I never understood that argument, especially.
I laugh myself sick. Like I laugh myself so hard I can't breathe.
I go with rewatchability for my personal favorite films of all time, but I can still recognize some of the greatest films of all time. Rewatch them 1,000 times over and over again. Like I don't understand that argument. I just completely disagree with that logic.
Yeah, that's not a knock against the movie.
Yeah. Anyways, Malcolm, get Chad in here so we can at least get another one.
It was nice to hear movie, Malcolm.
I mentioned that it was great though, but not for me personally, but for the rest of the world. So, Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean the fact that Jim Carrey has not received a single Oscar nomination is crazy. Because looking at his Golden Globe Awards, there's about 3 of them he deserved the Golden Globe Awards, and then there's The Grinch Stole Christmas. But that being said, Eternal Sunshine is a great movie. I've seen it once. It's definitely S tier. So yeah, take that, Jordan.
Yeah.
Get Chad in here so we can get one more S tier vote and keep it up there, please, because I'm pretty sure he's ready to go.
Eternal Sunshine, never heard of it. Yeah, me neither.
It's 3 S's, 3 out of 5 S's.
Yeah, it's 3 S's. So I mean, it'll probably make it. I don't know if it'll go as high on the S tier, but it might be. I mean, we'll have the debate a little later, but
we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll leave it up there. But Chase, it's your turn. So do you have one you want to nominate?
All right. I'm gonna go nominate for F. I'm gonna do Incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Oh,
I was so excited for this movie. Very disappointed. It had 2 of my favorite actors, Steve Carell and Jim Carrey, in it. I thought, and I also like magic, and I thought all that together would have been comedy gold, and I thought it would be a lot of fun, and I just thought it was terrible. I watched it the one time, haven't gone back, haven't even really thought about it since. Really forgettable. Yeah, that's my worst one, I would say.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
This is literally the only movie on the list I didn't get to. I have not
really?
seen The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, but I skipped it in the theaters. But Chase, I'm going to give you an F tier movie in a second. That there's no way Burt Wonderstone is worse than this movie. I'm about to tell you. Has no. I'm going to give you a movie that has zero entertainment value whatsoever and zero redeeming
Maybe it's one I
qualities.
haven't seen, so that could be.
Okay, yeah, I'll save that for a minute. But I can't imagine it's worse than the movie I'm going to bring up. But anyways, please, Jordan.
I could be forgetting something.
Yeah. No, you're not. It's just a movie nobody else has seen.
Yeah. Well, Burt Wonderstone, one of those movies, as far as my anticipation level going in was really, really high. You have Steve Carell, you have Jim Carrey, you have Steve Buscemi, you have Olivia Wilde, a great cast, but this thing's garbage. It's not good, and it's one of those movies that's so much potential in it. And I remember I went and saw it with one of my best friends, and he's sitting next to me, and he's dying laughing. And I look over at him, and I'm just what are you finding so funny? I don't get this. What is going on here? So yeah, I don't know if I would go as far to say F. I'll probably say D for Burt Wonderstone. I don't think that it's quite enough because there probably is another movie or two on the list that's worse than this, but I'll say D. So, and with that, we have our latecomer Chadwick. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Excited to rank some Jim Carrey here.
Yeah. So,
Chad. Okay, rank Burt Wonderstone, but then we need another vote for Eternal Sunshine because we got two jokers on this panel that think it's B tier, which are out of their goddamn minds. So please, we need your ranking on that one as well.
Don't worry, I was gonna chime in anyways on that.
Okay, so both just go and jump on both of them. Well, I mean, you can chime in on Truman Show as well. We haven't gotten that far. We've only gotten 3 movies so far. So
you want me to just talk about my opinion on the 3 real quick?
Yeah, you can give them real quick. Give them rankings real quick. We're only 3 in, so I mean, we're not that far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Burt Wonderstone, I'd say, it's as bad as it is, it's also just very forgettable. I forget that movie even exists. It's not known as one of the great comedies or anything like that. I remember when that came out, it was kind of one of those things, I think right after Steve Carell was trying to pursue more movies rather than The Office, and it's this is what you're doing, really? And then Foxcatcher came out, and I was like, okay, never mind. So Burt Wonderstone, I'm definitely cool with F. Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine, I agree, are both S. I think that those movies are just phenomenal, and Jim Carrey's performances in both. It's just, I mean, really, what can you say about them? Everybody else has been saying that, they deserve kind of Oscar attention. I also just love it, especially in Eternal Sunshine. I'd probably rank that even higher than Truman Show personally, just because I think that, it just has a lot more to say. I love the pairing between Jim Carrey and Michelle Gondry, and they actually teamed up for the show Kidding, which is also really, really good if you haven't seen it. And I just love the visual style of the movie, the way they portray just the dreamscape and just memories and just trying to forget something that's just so deeply a part of his life. And it's just, I don't know, it's just such a really deep movie. And I saw Austin's fight, and he crushed that round. So yeah.
All right, impromptu battleground match. Let's go. Right, and it's funny because when I had a match with Jacob Barber, I had to argue Truman Show versus Eternal, and I was on the side of Truman Show, so I had to try to knock Eternal. But it's one of those things where you have to, that was just my task, so I had to knock it where possible. But it was hard to do because I had rewatched it, and I was like, God damn, hard to do it. This movie's so fucking good. How do I do? Where do I go with this? So if you want to see that, you can go back to that match. But anyway, sorry, Malcolm, your thoughts on the incredible Burt Wonderstone?
So I actually don't hate Burt Wonderstone. I do agree that it's not a good movie, but I don't for a lot of Jim Carrey movies, there's not a movie that I really despise that much that I would put it in F. Like for me, I'd put Burt Wonderstone in C. I think one of the fun things about Burt Wonderstone is that Jim Carrey and Steve Carell both kind of switch roles, because Steve Carell is the more sort of on the Jim Carrey wackiness kind of thing, and then you've got Jim Carrey kind of being a slightly more straight-laced comedian so I think if they had switched roles, they may have worked a lot better. I don't know, but for now, I don't hate Burt Wonderstone. It's definitely forgettable, but I'd still put it in C.
Yeah.
Mr.
Well, Jordan? Yeah, what do you think?
This is a disappointment. On paper, this sounds like something that really should work. I remember being excited for it because I was like, "Oh, Burt Wonderstone, magicians, Carell and Carey, good supporting cast as well." But yeah, a lot of it just kind of falls flat. Forgettable is a great word. It's one of those comedies that I almost want to revisit because I'm like, I remember a hell of a lot from it, other than being kind of disappointed. I don't think it's quite F. There's a couple laughs in it. I do remember Jim Carrey's trying. He's trying to be this kind of crazy Chris Angel-like character, and some of his stuff works, although he's very much a supporting player to Carell, who's the main guy here, and his character is just kind of whatever. So not quite an F for me, but definitely not great. I'd say very low C, if not a D, so low C.
Yeah.
All right.
We got
2 C's, a D, and 2 F's. So I think it's going to scoot up to D with the C's, but still kind of in the lower C's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll leave it there. That sounds good. But well, Austin.
All right, Mr. Chase. I guarantee you I'm the only one who's seen this movie because I try to seek out the worst movie on the list, the absolute dirt worst. And I watched the movie that has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that's a movie called Dark Crimes. I watched it. And
watched it.
Oh boy. Oh, I watched it. Instead of watching Burt Wonderstone, I watched Dark Crimes. And holy shit. Holy shit, does this movie have no redeeming value whatsoever. It is a Polish movie where he's doing it's literally set in Poland. He's doing a semi-Poland accent where he's playing this Polish detective. I don't know why he did this movie. It's a very cheap looking movie. It's very dark and dreary. It's kind of about he's this detective who's investigating this author who's involved in it's all very confusing. He's involved in some kind of hostile sex worker torture dungeon warehouse thing. It's very confusing. You don't know what the hell really is going on. It's a lot of Jim Carrey watching videos of people. So if you really like Jim Carrey staring at a TV screen, you'll love this movie and not saying anything. But yeah, it's terribly confusing, horribly written. He's not committing to the accent or anything. It literally has it's boring. It has almost no redeeming value whatsoever. I understood after I watched it why it has 0%. So I would probably watch, based on what I've heard, Burt Wonderstone 10 times out of 10 before I'd watch Dark Crimes, because holy crap, is this movie just absolutely atrocious. Yeah, it's an F-tier movie. It's easily his worst movie he's ever done. I don't know why he did it, why he did this cheap overseas film, only just maybe he didn't need the money and he thought maybe he wanted to take a trip to Poland. I don't know. Like an Adam Sandler thing, he just wanted to take a weird vacation. But yeah, this movie's horrendous. Yeah, it's really bad. So yeah, F tier for Dark Crimes.
Well, there's only 3 movies on this list that I haven't seen, and this is one of them. I wasn't running out to see a movie that has 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I was like, maybe I'll hold off. That was last on my list. I told myself if I could get to every Jim Carrey movie, I'll watch it, but I couldn't quite get to all of them. So yeah.
Oh, you don't need to. You're good.
Yeah. Sounds like it. So, but we'll see if anyone else has even seen it. Chad, have you seen it?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Malcolm,
like an under the radar kind of.
I haven't seen this, but I'm intrigued by it.
No. My description is not intrigued. No, it's not. It's not.
Your description intrigued me. So
no, I beg of you. No.
At some stage. Plus, it's got Carrey actor Martin Scorsese in this, so I'm going to check it out. it's one of those ones that I do tend to like some bad movies, and this is one that like on Letterboxd, it's actually a lot of my friends that that are on Letterboxd have actually been rating it like 3.5. So I'm kind of intrigued to see. So yeah,
Really?
They must have
3.5,
weird
huh?
kinks for like boring, dull, fucking gray movies.
Yeah,
I don't know, like with no color.
Even the
I
poster's
don't know.
gray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan, have you seen it?
I sadly got to go along the train of now. I haven't seen it. I was actually excited for it at one point because Carrey's a detective in an R-rated movie kind of seemed intriguing. But then it just kind of quietly got delayed and then quietly released. And I haven't seen really a great review myself yet. I didn't even know it was 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, I haven't seen this one yet. And I am now weirdly too kind of like want to see it more in a weird way.
I'm trying to steer you guys away. Like I'm trying.
Is it that, now I've got the whole. Is it
Vincent.
that bad? I kind of want to know.
I mean, that poster.
Yeah, but
looks pretty
it's
cool,
look. I love
Yeah, the
bad
poster looks
movies
cool.
that are like funny bad, like I
Watchable bad?
but yeah, watchable bad. This one's not like it was the slog of slogs. It's like no, it's not good.
see, when people tell me not to watch a movie, it does the opposite effect to me because I want to check it out to form my own opinion of it.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. If you want to waste an hour and a half of your life, you're welcome to. I try to do it so you don't have to. I'm like the nostalgia critic.
Well, Chase, have you seen it? Have you seen Dark
Nope.
Crimes?
I have not.
Okay.
No surprise there.
Well, we probably saved that like 2 hours of our lives for not wasting time on it. So, but we'll unfortunately have to put it in the haven't seen, even though like F, we could leave it in F.
Is anybody gonna oppose to me putting in the F tier? Like, do you not trust me on this one? Like, it's
No, we
bad.
can just leave it there. I mean, like I don't think anyone else
It's got a 0. You're probably right.
gonna object. Yeah.
I'm probably right. It's got a 0%. Like, it's that bad. I know I'm right.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a
Well,
reason
I
I
mean-
haven't seen it because I haven't heard good things.
It's on
Yeah.
Peacock if you're that interested. That's
Yeah,
where I
it's
watched
really
it.
accessible. I believe Netflix had it at one point.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Anyways.
so it's my turn. I'm not gonna go for the one you don't think I'm gonna go for yet. But
Go for
maybe-
it. Just get it out of the way. Well, so we can get it out of our system. Let's have the battleground match right now. You tell me why
really
Ace
want me
Ventura:
to?
When Nature Calls is a better performance and a better movie than Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Go for it. Go for it.
All right. Well. Okay. So, When Nature Calls, like this movie just makes me laugh myself sick. Like it's just so good. When he's doing the chitty chitty bang bang scene, and like all of that's completely and totally improvised, and just rolling the car over and over and over again, and all of the things that he improvises, where like he just coming up with like line after line after line. The whole slinky, everyone loves a slinky down like a huge thing, or a huge flight of stairs, and then like just all the interaction with all the like people in the tribe, like, excuse me, your balls are showing, or like hello there, nice to see you, bumblebee tuna, and like just all the things that like it's just so good. And for me, like rewatchability does play a factor in it, and this is one of the most rewatchable ones that there is, and for any Jim Carrey movie for me, and like this movie, like it's in my top 64 for a reason. Like it just like it makes me laugh so hard every single time. Just like all the little things, like when he's messing around with the Monopoly guy, you must be the Monopoly guy, and he like punches him out, and he's dancing around with them and stuff, and then doing all the little things in front of the projector, like hi ho silver and the Hong Kong, like just all that stuff. It's like so
Do all the
quotable.
jokes, please.
Yeah. It's like I could like literally quote this whole entire movie because I've seen it over 100 times. So yeah, for me, I say absolute S tier. I mean, like for me, like it's up there with the Truman Show. Like for me, like those two are kind of neck and neck. But me personally, I like it better than Eternal Sunshine. I just do. So, but we'll see what you guys think. So, but Chad, what do you think?
All righty then.
Yes.
Yeah. This is definitely one that like I replayed over and over and over, like me by myself, hanging out with my sister, just all the time as a kid. This one actually, yeah, a little more than the first one. I think it was just bigger. It was just, I mean, he went to Africa, and ate bat guano and just did all this stuff. It's just really a really fun movie. Is it a good movie? I couldn't tell you, but I think it's really fun. I love that character. It's definitely one of the funniest movies ever made, I think. I don't know if I would put it in like S tier per se, but I would definitely put it in at least A tier personally. However, I'm gonna agree with you, Jordan, S tier, because I'm not sure what these other jokers are gonna do. They might try to bring it down a little bit, so I'm gonna keep it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah, but we'll see what you have to say. Malcolm, what do you think?
Rest in peace, raccoon.
Yeah, yep. Where nature calls.
See, rewatchable doesn't mean good. Ace Ventura: when Ace Ventura: Nature Calls is a funny movie. Does it deserve to be on the same level as The Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine? That is a hell no. Look, it's not better than the first Ace Ventura. So I'm going to go B tier.
Has less transphobia. Right. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, what do you think?
I kind of love how this show has kind of segued into, is it better than Eternal Sunshine, the show? Kind of the new
one for later
format that we somehow created, which I don't mind. I do like both Ace Venturas a lot. I don't know if this one's even a super rewatchable one for me, though. It's one that if I see, I like it, but it's not one I'm going to jump to anytime soon after I've seen it. I think the first one's more rewatchable with the other characters around it. But I do like it. But yeah, that's not an SC for me. It's like a low B for me personally.
All right. Well, Chase, what do you think?
I'll back you up a little bit, Jordan, on that one. I don't think I'll go quite S tier, but I think that it deserves to be in the A. Like you said, I mean, it's probably one of the most quotable ones. I mean, that scene where he's coming out of I think it's a rhino. When he's naked inside of it from sweating so much. Like, I mean, that scene alone, got me so good. Yeah, and I definitely put it above Pet Detective. I would say I like this one better. I think critical reception was better on Pet Detective, I think, like overall, but I'd have to double check. But yeah, I'd say A tier on that one.
Yeah, and I will say that I've had at least 3 dates where we're like trying to decide on a movie, and we always fall back to Ace Ventura: Nature Calls. It's been 3 dates for me, so. But Austin, let's hear it. What do you think?
Look, I'm not saying it's like bad, okay? I'm not saying it's not funny overall, but it's a B movie on Jim Carrey's oeuvre. It's in the B tier. It is inferior to the original film. It repeats a lot of the same bits and a lot of the same material as the original. That scene you're talking about with the Monopoly guy is just a rip on the first movie where he goes to the party. He's doing the same gags. He's like putting food in his mouth. He's doing all the same shit. Like it's a lot of the same gags over and over again. Like the problem is you're equating it to like one of his great classics of all time, one of the great comedies of all time, and it's not even as good as the first movie. Like it's a rehash, and there's a reason why there hasn't been an Ace Ventura 3. It's because he killed it with this movie that was rushed and put out a year after the damn first movie. I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm not saying it's well, we forget that shit happened. Like Ace Ventura Jr. Yeah, fuck off.
Wasn't it? It's not actually a prequel. It is a sequel.
It's a spin-off or whatever.
Ace Ventura Jr. is supposed to be the son of Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura, but Jim Carrey clearly didn't want to be there. But
he didn't want to. He wanted to do it.
Ace Ventura Jr. is a follow on, but the character is supposed to be the son of Ace Ventura.
Just again, this movie, the plot is about bat shit. Can we remind everybody the plot is about bat shit? Like that's what this plot is about. Like it's not him doing like pet detective shit like the original one was him finding a dolphin and like doing detective work. Like he's just it's a series of one sketch after another, just kind of strung together loosely with this batshit plot, like literally a batshit plot. So I mean, it's B, it's fine. I'm not saying it's like F tier or anything like that. I'm not. It's watchable, but no, it's a B movie. It's B tier.
Well, what are the votes we got?
Two S's, an A, 3 B's. Yeah.
2 S's, an A, and 3 B's. So, I mean, it might like end up at the top of A, maybe. Does that sound about right?
We'll see.
I think it's fair. I mean,
we'll see.
Based on the votes, So, so yeah, the law of averages. But yeah. Well, Chad, I guess it's your turn to pick one. So if you got one you want to talk about,
it's me now. Let's see. What do we got here?
I put them all in the private chat, but I'll do it.
It's basically all of his movies. Just one of his movies that's on there.
Yeah.
Just trying to quick decide them between two. All right. Well, I mean, a lot of his serious movies are kind of out of the way already. So let's go to another comedy. I'll go with no. You know what? I'm gonna go with one that another one I absolutely loved as a kid. And I'll go with Liar Liar.
All right.
Let me. Sometimes I have hard time figuring out if I want to put it in S or A.
I don't know.
I honestly don't think that there's anything wrong with the movie. I think it's a great movie. I'm gonna throw it an S and see where everyone else falls with this movie. I just think it has some of the great bits from Jim doing the pen is blue, the pen is royal blue bit, kicking his ass in the bath, his own ass in the bathroom, kicking my ass.
Do you mind?
Like it's just also just a sweet story of him just trying to connect with this kid, find time for work and I know my wife is a lawyer. She has a hard time trying to find time to be here with me and our cats. We don't have kids yet. But it is a rough life for a lawyer trying to find time to do things and, juggle work and family life. And in some ways they kind of make him out to be kind of a villain because, he's trying to make money. And that's when if we watched Liar Liar, the wife would just be like, he's trying to make money. He's doing his job. But, I mean, it is a whole thing where it's like, but, if you're a parent, you should have, kind of responsibility. And they might kind of like, demonize the, I think Carrie Elways is in it. Dad, stepdad kind of role.
Forgot about
that. It's one of those things where none of that stuff bothers me. I just think it's just a really sweet movie where, he realizes that, I just forgot the whole crux of the movie is the kid makes a birthday wish that his dad can't lie. So, he has to, through that, it's the mechanism for him to kind of realize that, he just needs to be there for his kid and, stuff like that. And I just think that it's a beautiful message. And, I love that father and son relationship. And I love the end sequence where he literally has to get on the side of the plane to, he pulls a Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible to try to connect with his kid. So, I love Liar Liar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds good. Malcolm, what do you think for Liar Liar?
Yeah, Liar Liar is a good movie, and it's definitely one of his better comedies. On a recent rewatch, I'm actually inclined to put it in A, just because I do like it, but it's one that I actually don't go back to watch as much as I would do some of his other ones that I do have higher. So A for Liar Liar for me.
Yeah, sounds good. Jordan, what do you think?
I love Liar Liar. Another reason why Jim Carrey kind of owned the '90s for me. Another great example. Playing a father too. I mean, there's he's not the same always crazy character, but he knows when to ramp it up just right in this movie here. I find it very, very watchable, as we've been saying throughout the show. I think this is a great rewatchable movie. I gotta say a low S tier for me.
Yeah, sounds good. Chase, what do you think for Liar Liar?
That's a tough one for sure. I mean, I would love to put an S, but I think I got to go A with it because thinking about the other ones on here, there's still a few on there I'd like to put on the S tier, and I think that one just doesn't quite make it. I do think it has a lot of quotable moments, and I think some of the writing in it was really good. Yeah, I'd go A.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin?
And how we doing, Mr. Reed? I'm a little upset about a bad sexual episode I had last night. Oh, well,
Yeah.
It happened more all the time. You're young. No, I mean, Liar Liar is fucking great. What's up, Fletcher? Your cholesterol, fatty. No, it's Liar Liar is it might be his most quotable movie he's ever done. Like, honestly, like pound for pound, I think joke for joke, Liar Liar might be up there as one of his greatest rewatchable comedies. It's a very simple movie. Yeah, there's not a lot of big extravagant set pieces, like in the Ace Ventura movies, but that's I think to the betterment of Carrey's performance, because it becomes just about what he's doing physically and with the delivery of the lines and all that stuff, and putting him in all these situations. I think the courtroom stuff is actually still fun. The way all that stuff resolves with Jennifer Tilly is a lot of fun. So yeah, I would go S tier for Liar Liar. I think Liar Liar rocks, and it still makes me laugh to this day. And just again, I think pound for pound, line for line, this movie is one of his funniest.
Yeah. His movie's so quotable. I was Jose Canseco. Or when he gets pulled over, when he's like, here goes, I sped, I followed too closely, I ran a stop sign, I almost hit a Chevy, I sped some more,
I changed lanes at the intersection, I changed lanes at a turn.
Yeah. So,
and the claw.
But it's fun, the claw.
I thought I could.
Oh no!
I thought I could make Parker by making her squeal.
Yeah.
Was the fucking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. There's so many lines. Yeah, for me, I think that it's definitely an S tier. And it's one of the movies. It might have some of the best outtakes of almost any comedy of all time. It's just so good. Where he's folding up the paper. He's like, a goose, just all the random stuff that he does. I hold myself in contempt, and then the other actors is overacting, and he calls him out for doing that. Yeah, it's good stuff.
You can just see how he's just cracking everybody on the set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how they keep a straight face with him in the building. So yeah,
bloopers actually at the end of the movie, during the credits.
Yeah.
Great bloopers at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably man, these bloopers are too good. People got to see them or something. So yeah. Mm-hmm. So I say S tier. So what are the votes at?
We got 4 S's and 2 A's, so it'll stay in S tier. We'll see where it ends up in the final ranking.
All right.
Later. All right.
Sounds good. Well,
we'll go to Malcolm, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll throw back to Malcolm. What do you want to go for?
So, for my next one, I'm going to throw my shot because I legit think this is a good movie. I'm going to go for Batman Forever, and I'm going to aim for S tier.
Oh my God!
Look, out of the 4 Batman movies, I think this is the second best Batman movie from the 90s.
God!
That's another discussion.
And I think a lot of it is because of Jim Carrey's performance as a Riddler. I mean, this is one I think I know where it's going to go. I think this is going to get When Nature Calls. But that being said, I legit think Batman Forever is great. It's definitely one of the better Batman because one of the reasons I like it is because it is super camp. It reminds me of a lot of the Adam West Batman, and that's kind of what I like. Batman doesn't always need to be serious that he has been of late. He can be on the campy side of things, and that's kind of what I like with what they were trying to replicate. So I'm going to try Batman for yes. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, it can't be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Jordan, what do you think for Batman Forever?
Just give me a second. I need to take a sip out of my Batman Forever glass mug I've had since I was 6.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
I have the whole set, I think. I'm not quite sure. And the trading cards. With that being said, it's not quite S tier. I do defend Forever. I like it. I like Carrey in it. What can I say again? Maybe it's just growing up with him. You're down for the zaniness as him as Riddler. Tommy Lee Jones, hey, again, say what you want. At least he's doing something. He's not the very typical Tommy Lee Jones.
What the fuck is Tommy Lee Jones doing in that movie? He's trying to out Carrey. Like, he hated his performance, and then he tries to out zany and out, like,
at least it's a different kind of Tommy Lee you've seen in other things. Like, it's not the Tommy Lee you've seen everything else. So, and you finally get Robin, and Robin's looking kind of badass. First look at him. I don't mind Kilmer. You know what I mean? Especially kind of growing up, not necessarily even really putting together that Keen's out and Kilmer's in. I was down for it. And yeah, I think there's some good set pieces. It's not quite losing its over-the-topness as the fourth one does, where it's just a commercial for toys. There is still kind of a fun plot here and some good stuff. So I'd say a high B for me. Like, it's fun and watchable, in my opinion.
Well, what do you think, Chase, for Batman Forever?
I mean, I don't have a lot to say on this one. I don't think. I mean, I think Jim Carrey was fine. I'm thinking I'm kind of leaning towards D on it, honestly. I mean, I know I just kind of comparing to all the ones I've seen on here, because I'm seeing at least 5 or 6 movies that I probably haven't seen on the list. So if I need to rank it between all of those, I'm probably going to go down to D. Just, I don't know. I just don't think it's his strongest.
Yeah. Well, sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
Oh boy. Look, look, Batman Forever is an interesting movie because it's not as wacky and cornball and over the top as Batman and Robin, but you get a lot of the shades of what will become Batman and Robin and Batman Forever when you go back and watch it. You've got the bat nipples, you've got the penis statues, you've got all the weird, goofy neon lights of Gotham City. I'm trying to keep it more focused on Jim Carrey because that's what we're talking about. But it's hard to take the movie seriously as a Batman movie when you're having all these flashbacks with Val Kilmer as like a kid, and he's brooding all over the place, and he's trying to talk about, you know, why he's the Batman, and then you cut to Jim Carrey pelvic thrusting his way, around the Batmobile, and and just like I don't know what to think of it. Like, it's 2 different movies, and Tommy Lee Jones, literally he quoted saying, "I cannot sanction Jim Carrey's buffoonery on this thing," and so he tries to out buffoon Jim Carrey. Like, I don't understand that choice of performance. It's a weird movie, and it's a tale of 2 movies. So because it's a tale of 2 movies, I'm going to put it in C tier because there's things I like about it. I like some of the set pieces. I like some of the action, things like that. But like, I think it's a little too. When it goes cheese, it goes full cheese, and it's hard to redeem from that. So I'll put it in C tier. It's an interesting movie. I've rewatched it a lot, but like I'm always trying to figure out what it's trying to be.
Yeah. Well, riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat? It's like he has a lot of cheesy one-liners in there, but I mean, this one's tough for me because there are parts that I hate about this movie, but there's parts that I actually love about this movie. I don't really hate Batman Forever. Like, I actually kind of like it. And we're talking Jim Carrey. I thought Jim Carrey was actually the strongest part of this movie. So if we're going Jim Carrey movies, like, I got to rank it pretty high. I mean, it's just tough because, I mean, like, it is kind of like a guilty pleasure type of movie for me. I do agree with Malcolm. It's the second best Batman for me, just after the original one. But probably, probably have to give it an A for me. I think that it's a solid A. So, but Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, when it comes to movies like this, where it's just like, really, I was really young when I saw them. A lot of the early Carrey movies are going to be very nostalgic for me, and this one's no different. I honestly haven't seen it in a very long time. And I need to rewatch it like in its entirety. I've seen like scenes, like clips since, but I think this is one exactly kind of how everyone is basically saying is like, it doesn't go as hard as Batman and Robin. So I think it's still a good movie. I don't think it's like a great movie, but I think like, and it's like, if you can get on board with the campiness, I think Joel Schumacher was a really fun change of pace from Tim Burton, I'll say. And I think because of that, I would definitely probably put an A tier, not S tier, especially since I haven't seen it in a long time. I can't sit here and tell you this is a really good movie because this happens in the story and stuff like that. But I do remember, a lot of the villain stuff that really makes it for me. I do think Jim Carrey is so over the top, and even like Tommy Lee Jones is so over the top and like really fun and funny. And especially as a kid, when I watched it, I really, really enjoyed it. They're like playing like the flaming lips and stuff. So like, I appreciate that for sure. Um, but yeah, I think this one is really fun, and if you get on board with it, I do see how Malcolm and Jordan can say that it's like one of the best Batman movies. I really believe that. I would say.
And also too, like I didn't mind Robin in there, even though it's not really like what he is in the comic book. I mean, it's like one of the only the few portrayals we've ever gotten. And then I also say, Tommy Lee Jones' performance, which is awful. It was like horrendous. It was bad. So yeah, but we got an S tier. We got a few A's.
We're all over the place. S, 2 A's, a B, a C, and a D. We are all over the goddamn place on this one. So it's probably going to end up in the B tier because it's all over the place. Yeah, because it's kind of literally almost one in every tier. So yeah, it's kind of B for Batman. Yeah, yeah. Seems appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll throw back over to Jordan Owens. So, what do you want to go for?
Oh, what to choose from Mr. Jim? I guess we'll continue kind of his Oscar snub run. After he was snubbed for Truman Show, before he was snubbed for Eternal Sunshine, right in the middle, he's snubbed for Man on the Moon, playing Andy Kaufman. It's a great nuanced performance. In fact, a movie not on here is the documentary about it, which makes you question some of the tactics of Mr. Carrey and what he put poor Milos Forman through and everyone else on the set. Even poor Jerry Lawler, who was like, no, we were friends in real life, Jim. Like, me and Andy didn't actually hate each other, but he like tormented poor Jerry Lawler in real life. The movie, it's very interesting. It's a great take on a very interesting character here. And again, I just think Carrey knocks it out of the park. A tier is where I was going for, so it's perfectly listed for me. Man on the Moon.
Yeah. Well, Chase, what do you think about Man on the Moon?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the documentary, I think I found that more interesting than the movie itself, honestly, just like how much he committed to that role. But I think it kind of helped me also enjoy, like, and appreciate Man on the Moon even more, but just to see like the craziness on the set of like what he like lived as that person for that amount of time. I mean, it seems like that's probably the role he committed to the most out of all of his roles that I know of, at least. I think A is a good point for it. I would put the documentary just a slightly higher A if that were being considered, but I think it's still kind of side by side there.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, Austin?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement. I think A is a perfect place for Man on the Moon. It much like a lot of biopics that come out in recent times. I think it's a good movie that's made better because of the performance. Much like a lot of the biopics that come out now and the people's commitments to the roles. I'm a big Andy Kaufman fan. Like aside from the movie, and Jim Carrey does definitely nail it. But I think it's a fairly cookie cutter documentary that I wish they had taken a little more, or not documentary. A biopic that they had taken a little more risks with, like, and played around in a little more Kaufman style, but I still like the movie a lot. It's a nice snapshot of his life. I'll go A tier. I like Man on the Moon. I don't think it quite hits that S level, but it's good. I'll keep it an A.
And for me, like, it's a perfectly fine movie. Like I don't hate it. I don't really particularly enjoy it, but I do appreciate Jim Carrey's performance in it. So I mean, it's hard for me to quite give it an A. I'd probably give it a B, but I mean, it's still good, but like I've only seen it the one time, and I didn't really have any desire to ever go back to it. But I do agree that the documentary, though, kind of ups your enjoyment of the movie. So I mean, so that helps. But,
Actually, the documentary kind of hinders your enjoyment of the movie. I think it's kind of the opposite. I think the documentary, you watch it and you go, "Oh my God, he tormented these fucking people on set, and like he tortured these people with his method acting and made everybody miserable, like, and they hated him."
It kind of makes you,
and a little bit. I mean, I know his commitment to it, but
more?
It's
kinda,
maybe, but yeah, I understand Jerry Lawler when it came time for him to recreate the David Letterman scene where he slapped him, that he quote, "I pasted that son of a bitch right on his jaw as hard as I could," and for good reason. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll say B though. Yeah. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I basically mirror everything everybody has said about this one. I don't know anybody who adores Man on the Moon, but I don't know anybody who hates it either. I think people generally are kind of in the middle on it, but then, Jim Carrey's performance is great. My take on method acting, I kind of love method acting when done right and not like, turned you basically into an asshole. I think Jim Carrey kind of was on the fringe of both of that, where it turned into a brilliant performance, but he also was pissing people off. But I don't think he went to like Jared Leto extremes or anything like that. So for me, it doesn't go into the problematic territory. However, I do think that this film, coupled with the Jim and Andy, I think does. I think it does make it more of an interesting watch when you know the lengths that he went to get into the mindset of this guy, one of the legends of comedy. I truly believe Andy Kaufman was brilliant, and we have a lot of, we have some comedians, or very few comedians actually, who are able to actually kind of like replicate that level of, kind of, I don't know, what you call it, like avant-garde comedy, just like, going out there to do your comedy. But yeah, like for the movie itself, I don't really care about it that much. But because of the performance and because of the documentary that came out that's not being represented, I'll throw it at an A.
Yeah, sounds good. Malcolm, what do you think?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Simply haven't seen it.
Well, something we got a majority of A vote, so maybe it'll stay in.
Yeah, it's mostly A, so it'll stay there for now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sounds good. Well, we're back on the chase. So you got another one you want to talk about?
All right. So this probably comes as a surprise, but this one's actually probably my favorite movie of all time, just based on just pure entertainment value. I'm surprised it doesn't come up yet, but I got to go Dumb and Dumber for S tier.
Yeah.
I just something about this. I mean, the road trip aspect to it. It's a long. I mean, there's not a part where you're not laughing the whole movie. Basically, I mean, it's I don't know. I just have memories of just watching it on TV with my dad when I'm young, just growing up. Like, it took me probably years for me to actually see the whole movie, like start to finish, because I just saw bits and pieces. But every time it came on, I was glued to the TV, and as soon as I could buy it on DVD, I did. And yeah, it's as far as I mean, I know we're using that word a lot, rewatchability, but I could watch that repeat it nonstop. Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, this was inevitable that Dumb and Dumber would end up in the S tier. I think it was even in our S tier for 90s comedies, and it's going to be in our comedy championship. So yeah, I mean, when you're doing a Jim Carrey list, it's going to be up there. Very, very quotable. A lot of like great subtle jokes, like not ones that you think of off the top of your head, the ones that just kind of slide in there. But yeah, his chemistry of with him, Jeff Daniels is really great. A lot of great character actors that kind of show up throughout the movie. It's a great road trip movie too. So it's kind of got everything you could want in a quick, nice 90-minute comedy. So yeah, not a lot to add about Dumb and Dumber other than it's great. And it should definitely be in his S tier.
Well, just when I thought you couldn't go and do anything dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. Yeah, this is an S tier for sure. Like, it's like, for me, like, I think that it's like super quotable. Like like quote this movie all day. And I've probably seen this movie. Like this is probably like in like the 3 movies that I've seen the most. Like I've seen this movie so many times. Probably like this, maybe Home Alone and like The Sandlot, like our movies that I grew up watching. But yeah, like there's just so many like just like really quotable quotes. Like would you remember to pay the gas bill? It's like, do you realize what you've done? It's just like there's
Really want to make love
or
in the
like
school.
bird, pretty bird. Yeah, it's like you gave our dead bird to a blind kid. So yeah, like it's just so good. Like this movie is a movie that'll never get old. Like I'll watch it about 100 times and laugh just as hard every single time. Like it's so good. For me,
she goes on and on about me not listening to her. I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention, but
yeah.
John Deere letter.
Yeah, John Deere letter.
Yeah. Or like if I know her as well as I think I do, she goes right in for tea and scrumpets. And he just has this like big cheesy smile on his face. It's just but yeah, like this is my favorite Jim Carrey movie. So yeah, I gotta say S tier for sure. For me, it goes right to the top of S tier. So, yep. But Chad, what do you think?
Do you realize what you've done?
Yeah,
The town is that way. Yeah, like the whole movie is just such a blast from beginning to end, and like it has a great comedic turn from like Jeff Daniels. Like he's giving it his all. He's kind of like a semi-straight man, I guess, to Jim Carrey, but they're both like so dumb, but it like doesn't go into like the movies. It's weird. It's like it's called Dumb and Dumber. It's a dumb movie, but it's also a very smart movie, like the way it's written. So it's like because you have like the smartly written jokes and the really solid plot and script, and it's just like it doesn't turn into one of those dumb movies that probably a lot of critics might make it out to be, but it's actually a really smart movie. It's kind of like Bill and Ted's, where it's like you have really dumb characters, but it's a really good movie actually, and very very fun. And like you said, like you guys were saying, like there's just so many good bits. They take like a X-Lax poop joke and make that really funny and really brilliant. It
one of the best toilet scenes.
Yeah, it doesn't turn into like something really dumb that you go, what the hell am I even watching right now? Yeah. And you just like you're ready to go on an adventure with them, and it's just yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's not much else I can say about it either. It's just such a blast of a movie, and yeah, exactly with the dead bird blind kid stuff. It goes really dark too, so it has like so many layers to this movie. Yeah, I love this movie. S tier for sure. This is the other one that I was gonna go with if I didn't go Liar Liar, but Liar Liar have a little bit more of a childhood edge to it. But yeah, S tier for Dumb and Dumber for sure.
I don't know how my wife let me, but I have a framed picture of the bathroom scene in my bathroom. So.
Oh, nice! That's awesome. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna say senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose, right? But Malcolm, what do you think for Dumb and Dumber?
Dumb and Dumber's absolute is like everyone's kind of said everything that needs to be said about it. It's definitely up there for his comedies, but I actually have to get going now. But
sure. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to promote really quick, or like tell us where we can find you?
I mean, at this point, most people know where they can find me. It's the same thing I promote every time I'm here.
Yeah.
I host Rankum on Take 3. We're doing Liam Neeson movies this Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll be on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, but thanks for joining us, Malcolm.
Yeah. Bye,
See you
later.
All right.
So, well,
Jordan, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, as Malcolm said, you guys have said a lot of good stuff. It's true. S tier. The movie still holds up. It's funny. As I said, like it's smart and dumb at the same time, so it walks a really great line. It's a great lightning in the bottle casting too. Like Jim Daniels really had to fight for that part. Jim Carrey luckily had his back, and because you do wonder, what would it have been as good with a different pairing? I don't know, but luckily we got the pairing we did, and it's great. Yeah, S tier.
Yeah, who would have thought we would have got that performance from Jeff Daniels? Because all the movies before are pretty serious.
And you can see
Yeah,
how
they made him really fight for it.
I think Jim
you can
Carrey
also
brought it up.
see how bad
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber could be because we got a sequel, and that was very bad.
Yeah, the less said about that sequel. I mean, should we go around the horn and just rank the sequel real quick too, and see what everybody thinks about that? Did everybody see it? Why don't we just do it?
We
Let's
did
get it out of the
that.
way.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber 2. Let's go around the horn. Chad, what do you think?
right.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? While we're talking about it.
I'll put it D.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
still had some fun with it, but it's not a good movie at all.
Yeah. Well, Jordan?
Yeah, I'll keep it at D personally. Yeah, there's not enough redeeming for it. And I tried a couple times.
Yeah. Chase, what do you think?
I'll put it a little higher. I'll go C on it. I mean, just because I'm such a diehard fan of the first one. I mean, I still really like the second one. It could have been better. I mean, it was better than Zoolander 2, at least. Those kind of came out to each other and
At least.
kind of the same nature.
Yes.
I still think it's really funny. It has its moment. I don't think Jeff Daniels was maybe as strong in it. I think Jim Carrey still was kind of pulling the weight there, but I think it's just been too long since Jeff Daniels had done comedy. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'd say C on it.
Yeah. Well, Austin?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same in the C boat. There's a reason I haven't gone back to it since the theaters because I've had no desire to. But I do remember having a little bit of fun with it in moments when they're together. The movie does that weird thing where the last half an hour they're split up and doing different adventures and stuff. It's well, I don't know why you would split these guys up when the whole thing is about their chemistry and they're bouncing back and forth with each other. So that's just weird. And the movie just feels long. It's as long as the first one, but it feels longer. It just doesn't breeze by as fast. I go C tier for Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in the first one, they kind of split them up too, near the end too. They kind of
a little, but it doesn't feel like it. I don't know why it doesn't feel like it in the first one.
Yeah,
I don't know. This one is just it comes to a slog when Jeff Daniels is up on stage doing that weird stuff, and Jim Carrey's running around with the girl. It's just it feels weird, two different movies.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have to find the pictures, but me, one of my best friends actually went to a school dance in the Dumb and Dumber suits from the first movie, so we got the powder blue and the orange with the top hats and canes and everything. So that was fun. But yeah, for this one though, I'll give it a C because there's some scenes in the movie that are cringeworthy when they're in the car and they keep farting. That's an example of a bathroom humor that doesn't work. It's cringeworthy. It's bad, but I do like the scene in the beginning when they go to meet Harry's parents and they end up being Asian and they're just saying talking I think Korean or something back and forth. It's just pretty funny there. But yeah, there's not a lot of bits that hit real hard. So I'll say C, sure. So
it's 3 C's.
What are the votes at?
3 C's and 2 D's. So yeah, it might be just scoot into C tier. Yeah.
The C's looking a little lonely, so we could throw something into the C. Yep.
You got every letter now.
Yeah. So I believe that it's Jordan Owens, right? Malcolm left before he got a turn, so.
All right.
So what do you want
Jordan?
to pick?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I forgot because he left. I'll go with one that I saw. I think you just watched it, Jordan. I think it's a weird, interesting one. I Love You, Philip Morris.
Yeah. Just really
again, I think really kind of showing kind of different range Jim Carrey has. He's not a good person in it, really to a large degree, but he is a man that's in love, and he'll do anything for beautiful Ewan McGregor. I'm sure we all would. And yeah, I just thought it's a really interesting one. I've revisited it a couple times. And yeah, I do like it. I think A is where it belongs. It's an interesting one that I think more people need to see. Hopefully, this table saw it.
Yeah. Well, Chase, have you seen it?
I did not see it. No, I haven't. I remember seeing it did they go straight to Redbox or something? I remember seeing it on Redbox all the time.
No, it was in theater. It was in theaters. Yeah. I saw it in theaters
before my time.
Yeah,
not long.
Anything about it? So yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, Austin.
Yeah, I've only seen this one like twice, but I remember liking it, and this would definitely be A level, like honorable mention material for me. Like, is where I would kind of hope it would end up going into. Yeah, he's really good. Their chemistry, yeah, him and Ewan McGregor is great. It's a lot about them performing cons and scams, and there's a lot of the sequences about that, like Jim Carrey like escaping from jail that are a lot of fun, like him pulling all these weird things to get out of jail, and they can't kind of keep him in there. But yeah, there's some really good stuff. I think it's an interesting movie, an interesting performance. Yeah, it's not one I've gone back to a lot, but I think it's kind of an underrated little hidden gem of his filmography. So yeah, I think A is kind of perfect. I would hope it would end up in like a honorable mention territory, because I think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah. And so I just barely watched it. This was like the last Jim Carrey movie that actually finished up the end of it this morning, and like I had a lot of fun with it. Like. It took me a little while to watch it because when I saw all the trailers for it, they had the vibe of like a gay porno or something like that. I'm like, what the frick is this? Like, it just looked like really weird. And so I kind of avoided it for a long time. But then a few people told me I should go check it out. And it was actually a lot of fun. Like, it's kind of a fun little story with all those cons, like you mentioned, Austin. And like, it's kind of like a little bit of a love story too. And yeah, like it's actually a pretty fun little movie, like all the things that Jim Carrey does to try and escape jail, like even goes as far as to fake having AIDS for the to escape jail. So like he just does some like pretty crazy stuff. You think he's like dead at one point. So yeah, yeah, I'll say A tier for I Love You, Philip Morris. Yeah. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of have like the same perception as Chase a little bit. I have seen it though, but I didn't realize this actually was in the theaters and stuff like that. But like I saw like I think way later.
And I work in the theater, so
yep.
Yeah. I saw it like way later, and I was like, it wasn't really my speed. I don't think it's a bad movie or anything. I think it's probably like, yeah, like maybe honorable mention territory, like Austin said. But I would probably not put it in A. I'd probably just put it in B.
All right.
Just because it wasn't really my speed.
Well, we got 3 A's and a B, so I think it'll stay in A.
It'll stay in A for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna look it up for a minute while Chase is going to see like what it made, versus like budget wise, to see if it was profitable.
It may have been too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was fairly limited. It says it had a worldwide box office of 20 million on a 13 million budget, so it might have broken even.
Yeah.
With a little bit of marketing, it might have broken even and maybe done okay. I think I remember doing okay on rentals and stuff, so a little word of mouth. But yeah.
That's the only place I saw it was Redbox. So.
Yeah. So it says it was only limited. It was a limited roadside attractions movie for like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. So not very much. But it did better. It did better overseas, so than it did here. So there you go, which makes sense. I can see this movie doing well in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Very well in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. It does. So there you go.
But yeah, we'll throw it back to Chase. So if you got another one you want to talk about.
Yeah, and I just put it in the chat. That's probably my last one, and I got to head off. But this is one I think is really underrated. Honestly, it's one of his more recent ones too. I'm gonna go Yes Man for Superior.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody talks about it, but I mean it's probably my top 3 of his all time. Honestly, I just think I think it was kind of a return to form for him. Like he kind of he did like The Grinch, and he did the animated Christmas Carol, and like kind of did some different stuff for a little while. And this was kind of back to a pure like kind of comedy starring role for him. And I thought he knocked it out of the park. And it's one I rewatch probably second most to Dumb and Dumber. So.
Yeah. Sounds good. Austin, what do you think?
I can't quite go S tier. I haven't gone back to this one since the theater, and there's a reason. I think it was all right. I think it was entertaining enough, but it had a weird premise where like it's not like Liar Liar where something's compelling him to say yes all the time. He just kind of is. He just takes like a philosophy on life. So I don't know why he's saying yes to getting like a blowjob from the neighbor grandma with like no teeth. Like that's weird. It's I'm saying yes just because, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying yes just because I have to, but not really. Like I understand the message of the movie of being open to more, you know, experiences in life and kind of, you know, breaking out of your box and everything. I just don't like the premise is hard for me to get past, and I don't think it's that funny. Like I don't remember like laughing a lot during the movie. I understand it maybe is one of those weird ones he did in the 2000s where it's like I'm trying to do the drama and the comedy. Like Bruce Almighty gets really dramatic at the end for no reason. But yeah, like yeah, I'd go like a B. I don't remember being over the moon about this one, over the man on the moon about this one. But yeah, like I think it's okay. I'll say B.
Yeah, I think for me, I really liked it. Like I had a fun time with it. Like, but yeah, like I don't know if I would say S tier. Like it didn't really make me laugh a whole lot. But there were some moments that I always like at the end when he gets like forget the like whatever motorcycle, but it's known to be one of the fastest in the world. At the end, he's riding it with the hospital gown and his butt's hanging out. Yeah. So like that's pretty fun. And yeah, like. I have a fun time with it. Like I'd probably give it a solid A for me. I probably wouldn't quite put it in the S tier, but I think like A is a good spot for it. I want you to go back and give it a rewatch because it has an interesting cast too. Like Bradley Cooper pops up in it, Terrence Stamp, John Michael Higgins. So like there's a few those recognizable actors that'll pop up. And Zooey Deschanel, of course, is like his like a romance or like love interest or whatever. So yeah, I'll say A. But Chad, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I love that Chase loves this movie personally. I remember really liking it back in 2008 when I was like 18. I wasn't like that critical about movies like at all. I just remember really liking it. Seeing later that it didn't, do so well critically and stuff like that. But I mean, that doesn't always mean that it's not a good movie. And I remember this was actually like now that the New Zealander went off. This was like the first time I ever saw Rhys Darby. That dude's freaking hilarious. I think he's one of the really good supporting like comedic parts of that movie for me. But I also just love seeing Jim Carrey and Zooey Deschanel together. I love the the thought of saying yes to things and not letting opportunities pass and just being kind of spontaneous. I love that vibe for the movie, and so I remember really liking this. I wouldn't put it in S tier, but I wouldn't put it in B tier. I'd put it in A tier.
Yeah, sounds good. Jordan, what do you think for Yes Man?
Yeah, actually, I would recommend giving it another shot if you haven't seen it in a while. This is one that has actually warmed up to me from my first viewing, and kind of just digging in and kind of going along with the vibe a little bit more upon a rewatch. It's a fun one, and it is kind of like you said, a return to form. It is kind of another great reminder when it's been a couple years and you're like, oh, okay, Jim Carrey still can be very funny and given a wacky premise. And yeah, I liked it. It's definitely not an S tier for me, but it's up there. So I'd say low A, top B for me.
Yeah. Well, I think we got enough A votes to maybe put it in the A.
Yeah, it'll go in the A.
Not quite yet.
I knew I'd be in the minority there. So
yeah, it's all good. But yeah, thanks again, Chase, for joining us. Do you have anything that you want to promote or like tell us where we can find you or anything?
No, I mean just promote your local theater. Honestly,
you can find them at the movie theater.
What's that?
You can find them at the movie theater.
Now it was rough there for about a year. I mean, we were closed for 5 months, and other ones were closed for a full year. I mean, you guys know. So it's just promote your local theater. That's the thing I can ask right now. So yeah, thanks for having me on. I'll watch the rest of the episode when I get a chance. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. So.
Yeah, see you guys.
Bye, Trace. Right. We'll see you.
All right.
And then there were 4.
So,
all right.
Yeah. I guess Austin, you'll be.
Yeah, I'll talk about one more bad one before I get back to the good. I had never seen the number 23 before last week. I had actively avoided it. Holy shit, that's a bad movie. Now, listen. I'm not going to go F tier because I had a little more entertainment value with it than Dark Crimes because I watched them both like back to back pretty much. But man, is it a wacky, weird, convoluted movie with like more amnesia plots and like him getting obsessed with like his own story, kind of as it turns out. Spoiler alert. But yeah, like it's got an interesting premise, and I remember when he was promoting this movie, kind of doing all the 23 stuff on the media. Like, I wish it stuck more to that than to this goofy. He's like recreating the stuff in the book where he's all brooding and he's got like barbed wire tattoos and like long hair, and it's out of place and it's weird and goofy and wacky. Yeah, this is a bad Joel Schumacher movie. Like, rest in peace, Joel Schumacher. But like, this is not one of his best hours. Like his best days were kind of beyond him at this point. But yeah, I'm gonna go D tier on number 23. It's had some entertaining stuff overall with him getting more and more crazy throughout the movie, but it's still a very, very bad movie. So yeah, I'll go D tier on the number 23.
Yeah, number 23 isn't very good. So where I grew up, we had this place that they called it Clean Flicks, and it's a place where they like took movies and they like edited it down to like make it
great documentary.
People, yeah. So there's a whole documentary about it, and like actually was friends with the owners who own the one where I live. So they ended up buying me like a few like random movies. I saw The Happening for the first time on like a Clean Flicks like weird edit or something. A bunch of bad movies, I guess. But yeah. So like. You probably want to need to go back and give it a rewatch because when you edit that stuff out, you miss a lot of the context of like what's going on and stuff. So
well, yeah, they edit out like kind of a couple of pseudo sex scenes and like some violent, knife stuff, and like they edit out all the violence. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they edit out some of the language. Yeah, and you're probably like, I really don't know. I can imagine this movie's convoluted and confusing enough without you editing out complete scenes out of the movie.
Right. Yeah, so actually, I have it. Like, if anyone wants to see an edited version, probably nobody cares.
Oh wow!
But I do have it on a DVD. But yeah, so I think that that's fine where it is. I think that funny enough, I probably like Burt Wonderstone actually a little better than the number 23. So I mean, I think it's perfect where it is. Yeah. So D tier. Mm-hmm. But Chad, what do you think?
I mean, well, just to piggyback off what you just said, I think like a really bad, boring kind of wannabe thriller seems to be like less enjoyable than a kind of funny movie, but still bad. But yeah, like I remember the number 23 when it came out. I didn't see it in the theaters or anything, but I remember I thought it was going to be kind of like a semi like horror movie or something like that.
That's how they promoted it. They promoted it like a horror movie. Like it was like, it's the number 23, and then he's gonna, it's gonna possess him, and he's gonna start like slashing people, and like that's like literally if you watch the trailers, that's how they promote it. But like all the stuff where he's doing that is like a recreation of stuff from the book he's reading. So he's not like it's very, it was very like like I don't know. What am I trying to say? Like misleading as far as the trailers go, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of like Charlie Kelly from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, trying to find Pepe Silva.
And little pieces on the board and
everything. But yeah, like it's just forgettable. Like no one really ever brings this movie up because it's just so it's just exactly like Burt Wonderstone. It's just pretty forgettable. Nobody really brings it up just because it was kind of bad, and it's just like I mean, I wouldn't say it's so bad like that it's good. It's just kind of forgettable and dull and like kind of like exactly what I said in the beginning, like a wannabe thriller. Like it wanted to be something else, like a freaking Seven or something, but it's just not.
Yep, exactly.
So I'm sorry. So I would leave it in D.
Yeah.
Jordan, what do you think?
I'll go against the grain and give it the super high grade of a C. I'll take it over. I'll take it over Burt Wonderstone. I was at least with it like during the kind of like the first half of when you're kind of figuring out this mystery of what's involved with the book and whatnot. And it is a kind of, and then when Carrey is in the book character, it's a different Carrey than we've seen in other things. So I could see maybe why he was attracted to the script itself, because it is nothing like anything else he's kind of done as far as some aspects of it. but it does kind of fall apart. It's another one, kind of like Dumb and Dumber 2, which also is in the seas. It's one I've tried on like more than one occasion. Be like, all right, maybe if I look at it from different lens, and I've seen it once, and it's still not very good, but it's at least an interesting kind of mess that, like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a mess. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that we got enough D's that'll probably stay in D.
Yeah, I was more entertained with it than Dark Crimes, which is why I can't put it in F tier. You know what I mean? Like, it was more interesting, at least than that. At least there's something going on, and like, yes, the stuff where he's just being like, oh, this and this is 23, and this is 20. Like, half of that movie is just him being like, and 8 plus 15 is 23, and so 9 plus whatever is 23, and it's like that's half the dialogue in the movie, so it gets annoying after a while. But yeah, it's a very weird movie.
Yeah. All right, so I'm up next. Well, I'm gonna go with a movie that I also watched for the first time, kind of prepping for this, and like I was really surprised with how much I actually liked this movie. I'm gonna go with Earth Girls Are Easy, like that. So I had a lot of fun with this movie. Like I wasn't sure what to really think about it, and like I'd really digging it. Like even though like Jim Carrey's kind of just like palling around with Damon Wayans and Jeff Goldblum. They're these aliens and stuff that like kind of like they go from looking like kind of like a colorful, almost like the Grinch like style characters to like humans and just out of nowhere kind of. They go to the salon and like poof, they're just humans. But like that. But they're kind of just like talking in like an alien language. Like I dig all the like musical numbers and like. Gina Davis is actually probably the hottest she's ever been in like any movie in this. So and like
hey, that's what I told him when I said watch the movie. She's in a bikini like half the movie, and she's pretty damn hot in the movie actually.
Yeah. So like I had a lot of fun with it, and like it's just fun. Like one of those movies that is like kind of campy, but you have fun with it though, even though it's campy. Like you just gotta just like go with the right mindset that. Like you're just having some campy fun. It's just a fun little comedy / like a little bit of sci-fi kind of in the mix. So yeah, like I had a good time with it. So I think that I give it an A tier. Like I probably like it better than any of the movies below it. So yeah, I'm gonna say A tier for Earth Girls Are Easy. But see what you guys think. Chad?
Yeah, I mean, I never existed in the 1980s, but I think this is probably one of the most 80s movies ever. I mean, just with the title, just the clothes, Gina Davis. Yeah, I mean, I second that. I think she's very attractive in this movie. She's also very attractive in A League of Their Own and stuff like that. But yeah, like in this one, yeah, I mean, it's a very early role for Jim Carrey and Damon Wayans and them, and it's just like, just kind of a small kind of part, and they're just kind of palling around, like you said. But I think the movie itself is pretty fun. I like the dynamic, the kind of fish out of water aspect with the aliens, trying to fit in and stuff like that. I don't remember like much about the plot, to be honest, of this one. So I was
just kind of them hanging out, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't really throw it up in like a S tier, but I mean, it's not every movie has to have like some deep plot or anything like that. It's just a fun movie to watch, I feel like. And seeing the aliens do weird stuff because they're aliens. But yeah, I would throw it an A. I would keep it an A.
Yeah, and shout out to Michael McKean. It's like the weird kind of surfer guy, like pool boy guy. That's like, whoa, dude, what's up, man? We're gonna go catch some killer waves and find some babes, So that's a fun time. But Jordan, what do you think for Earth Girls Are Easy?
I kind of like what Chad said. Without being an '80s kid, man, it feels like an '80s movie. And Gina Davis. This is an odd one, man. This is an odd little film here. You mentioned before it's like part musical, randomly in chunks.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't love as much as you guys. There's some parts that I liked, but I just remember it just kind of feeling just very odd and something that I really couldn't sink my teeth into. It's like a C for me. I didn't like it that much.
Yeah, sure. No, that makes sense. But But Austin, what do you think?
Look, Earth Girls Are Easy is a B movie, and therefore I think it should be in the B tier because it's definitely like a B movie comic. But like, yeah, I mean, it's a nice little casual watch. You know, it's like a hangout movie. Yeah, half of the movie is just them like palling around the pool and like wandering around the house, like examining everything, and just like Jim Carrey making goofy faces, like which is what he was doing around the time, you know, with the stand up and you know, but like the chemistry between all of them is a lot of fun. Gina Davis is good. Like it was when she was coming up as leading lady, kind of after The Fly, and you know she was kind of starting to star in more and more stuff. But you know, I think it's a nice casual watch. I wouldn't put this one as one of the elite movies on this list, but I would go like a B tier. I think it's a perfectly fine B movie.
Yeah. So. With 2 A's, a B, and a C, it probably ends up in the B tier, I'd say. So.
Probably, maybe like top of B tier or something like that. Yeah.
Do that. Yeah. So, we'll throw it back to Chad. You're up. So you got another one you want to talk about?
Oh man. Okay. All right. Let me make sure I choose the right one here. All right. I'm gonna go with another one that I loved as a kid that I feel is actually very underrated. Like a lot of people don't like this movie, but I kind of love this movie. The Cable Guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I really love this movie. Just like, you know, I'm coming from it with like a nostalgic lens here. You know, so I can't really look at it from like any other perspective. So it'll be interesting to hear other people's takes on it. Um, yeah, I wouldn't put it in like an S tier. I would put it in A. But I'd probably put it in like a really high A because I just think it's a really good movie. I love, you know, that he's just a guy that wants it's just a fun thriller. It's just a guy that just wants like companionship because he never got that as a kid. He just like, you know, all he had to connect with was the TV because his parents were terrible or his mom was terrible. And you know, he kind of takes it out on this, you know, random guy and he does it, I guess keeps doing it or whatever. But I just love like the, you know, TV was such a big part of his life because it's also a big part of my life. And it's just like a really good thriller because, you know, you want to see kind of how crazy Jim Carrey is going to go in this. And it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of what it's kind of like, Robin Williams like 1 hour photo kind of like it's like that take
A little bit.
he's just like going you know, crazy thriller kind of like. And yeah, I just think it's really fun. I love, you know, the just a lot of the scenes in it when you know, don't you want somebody to love, there's just like so many good, you know, scenes that I just really really love. I just love the story. I love even the straight roles with like Matthew Broderick is just really good. And Jack Black's in that movie. That's just he's like plays like the friend who's like, you know, what do you see in this guy? Why don't you just not be friends with that guy? And it's just I don't know. I just love the movie.
Like
I
the
love
straight
how
man,
it ends on the TV satellite and stuff like that. I don't know. I just really like the movie. I'd put it in a high A.
Yeah. Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, this is another one like kind of like Yes Man, but I was in a different level of. I've turned around a little bit more on this movie and enjoyed it more upon rewatchings. And yeah, there's a great performance there by Carrey. I think he elevates it of walking that fine line of where exactly is this character, you know, coming from. You know what I mean? He's obviously not right in what he does to poor little old Matthew Broderick, but you know what I mean? You find out a little bit about his childhood and you kind of want to learn even more. And I think it's a really interesting piece here. Early Ben Stiller directed movie too as well. Of course, cameos by him in the background as well. So and you know, you can tell sometimes Stiller likes that kind of that humor. And yeah, I think it's a really interesting piece. I'm good with it being an A. I'd probably say B for me, but like, yeah, it's a good one.
I like the lisp.
Yeah.
Movie.
Yeah, the lisp. Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
I've rewatched this one when we did our 90s comedy episode because I don't think I had ever at that point sat down and watched it all the way through. And I argued on that episode only because we were talking about 90s comedies that it wasn't a comedy. I argued it was a horror movie because I think it was a straight up horror thriller. Because he's trying to be funny, I guess. Like, it's very like dark humor, but that movie in the last half is pretty much just a straight up like stalker horror thriller. Like he's Tim dude trying to kill him. And like it's insane. Like, and so I argued in that episode that it was like that I wanted to throw it in the not a comedy category. So now that we're at the Jim Carrey, I don't know where to put it as far as like a tier, because it's effective as that horror thriller. I don't think it's that good of a comedy. I know some people like love it and think it's like this underrated gem of a it didn't really make me laugh that much, but as a performance, as a movie, I think it's fairly solid. I'm okay with leaving it an A. I'll go A, but yeah, I would do it more as an A thriller than an A comedy. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. That's all.
Yeah, I definitely call it more of like a dark comedy for sure. Yeah, but yeah, like I actually really love The Cable Guy. Like that's actually one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies. Like I definitely give it an S tier for sure. And my favorite scene, hands down, is when they go to the medieval times restaurant. He's like, where he's like, "Dost thou have a mug of ale for me and my mate? For he has been pitched in battle for a fortnight and has a king's thirst for a frosty brew. Dost thou have for thus," or whatever. And then they're like reenacting the Star Trek.
Isn't it like Janine Garofalo and she's like, "Yeah, I'll get you a Coke or some shit like that." Like she's just like blowing it off.
Yeah,
just like,
Garofalo.
dude, I make like five. She's like, dude, I make like $5 an hour. It's like, who cares? Like, shut up.
When he puts the,
he puts the skin on his face. He's like, "Hello, Clarice."
Oh yeah. Hello, Clarice. Yeah. Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah. And then like the whole scene where he's like pretending to be like the like bathroom attendant at the restaurant and beats the hell out of, I think, is that Owen Wilson, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So but the movie's a lot of fun. Like I remember like it's one of the Jim Carrey movies that I discovered at a local video rental store they used to have by where I lived, and like
I don't know what is that. What do you mean?
Yeah, right.
What?
Remember those? Yeah. But it was like a local one. It wasn't even like a Blockbuster. I lived in a little town called Eagle, Idaho, so it just called Eagle Video, and give me the Cable Guy poster there too. So actually somewhere out of my storage I have a Cable Guy poster. But yeah, like I have a lot of fun with it, and it's kind of a quotable movie too. Like if you think about it. So I mean, yeah, like I would give it an S tier for sure. So, but what are the votes at?
An S, 2 A's, and a B. So kind of right in the middle, right there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So probably a solid A. Yeah.
Yeah, some of these might end up getting bumped up into S tier at the end, kind of like some of our other lists. So we'll see, because some of them could get bumped up just by default. Some of the
lack
votes,
of movies in the S tier.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, Jim Carrey's movies can be a little polarizing sometimes. Some people are into them more than others. So yeah. All right. So we'll go to Jordan, right?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Muted.
I mean, muted. Yeah.
This Jordan.
There we go.
Yeah, you Jordan. Yeah, Jordan.
There you go.
All right, let's see. Well, okay, I think we talked about the inferior sequel. Let's talk about Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Let's get it on the board. It needs to be on the board. It needs to be S level. Or A. If it goes to A, I will subdue. But I'll throw it in for S since we still got some room. Again, I think it's totally quotable. Already then a great opening sequence, which is give Jim Carrey a freaking package and he delivers. And it's an instantly opening sequence of him and the dog, and I love the stuff. Just everything. The opening, closing the door. He makes funny. Tone Loco. Anywho, yeah,
right.
Put him in an empty fish tank, and he'll come up with some great stuff. This is why Jim Carrey owned that year. There's Dumb and Dumber. I mean, who had a funnier year than Jim Carrey in The Mask? I don't know anyone did. So yeah, I had to throw in. We talked about When Nature Calls, which I do like, and I'm fine with it being an A. But yeah, let's talk Pet Detective. Another reason why we're talking Jim Carrey still to this day is this great year, and Ace Ventura is a great example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with S tier for the original Ace Ventura. I think he's an absolute force of nature in this movie. I like the story about him going after the Dolphins and Dan Marino. Yeah, it's fun stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Tons of great sequences. The fact that it has one of my favorite bands of all time, Cannibal Corpse, in the movie does not hurt it at all, which is one of Jim Carrey's favorite bands at the time.
Yeah,
which is great.
Rocking around, like headbanging.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, they're playing Hammer Smash Face. Great song. But yeah, like great sequence. I mean, just even the little things, like when he runs over the cops with his car, and then he just goes, "Excuse me, gentlemen, pet detective," as he's just driving away, and like just little things like that. Like I love all that shit. All of his interaction with the landlord is great. Ventura, yes, Satan.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, you sounded like someone else. Like all that shit with the with all the animals in his part. Like I think this was way more quotable than the second one. Like every line just fucking kills. And this one, like I think it's a lot of fun. So all the shit where he's in the aquarium tank, doing all the Kirk stuff and everything. It's all great. Like Ace Ventura's S tier. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Kirk stuff like in this one and the sequel too. Just like there's something on the wing in the sequel too. But yeah, but even though I think that When Nature Calls is a better movie, I do think we need to have one of Ace Ventura movies in the S tier. So I'll give it an S tier. And like there's a lot of quotable lines in it. Like when he goes to the party is one of the best scenes, and he's like doing like a bunch of crazy stuff in the bathroom, and he comes out soaking wet. He's like, "Do not go in there." Like,
dude, when he just walks by the guy playing like the cello and just yanks his arm and makes him go off key for a second, and just walks away. Like just little moments like that you, if you're not watching, you don't catch. Like, when he like fucking pulls his arm away, like shit like that fucking kills me. Like I think this looks great.
Was a story of Ray Finkel. So I mean, and like for some reason that name, like I always just will use it in everyday conversation. Ray Finkel.
Excuse me, I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts.
Yeah. But when you're driving in the car, he has to drive with his head out the window like that. That's like an iconic thing too. So yeah, that's an S tier for sure for Ace Ventura. Yeah. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, I do think that When Nature Calls is probably more quotable just by like joke after joke after joke. But I do kind of agree with the point that I think the first one is the better film overall because you have the the solid, it's just a solid mystery story. And then you get like, there's just a lot of great stuff in it. You guys have said a lot of the jokes, and there's just so many good jokes in this one. I loved like the straight woman performance from Courtney Cox in it, and then you also have a really early freaking Hector Salamanca in this. So there's just so much great stuff in this. I would definitely put this one S tier. I just think like all the I mean, this is just where he created this insane character, just so iconic, with his shirt and hairdo. And just so easily recognizable, like anywhere. And like I mean, I'm trying to figure out what else to say about this one, but it's just one of the great. I mean, I don't know. I would liken it to stuff like Beverly Hills Cop and just a lot of these like kind of like single cop guy trying to solve a case, but he's a pet detective. It's just such a like unique kind of like take on like a cop. He's not a cop. He's just a he's not even really a real detective.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
he's in a league of his own.
It's just insane, but it's just one of the greatest comedies ever made. S tier for sure. Yeah. If Dumb and Dumber's in there, Ace Ventura Pet Detective.
Yeah.
And I will say too that like although I find When Nature Calls funnier, like the Pet Detective just has the better overall story. It just kind of keeps you more engaged and more like with the character and like this mystery he's trying to solve. So yeah, but Jordan,
He
You the one that nominated?
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if you were the one that nominated. Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He slams his head down. I cringe every time he slams his head on the fucking bench.
Yeah,
But, like, I think it's sound effect. Great Foley work. Yeah.
Also,
We'll see
like
that.
it's a good movie where like Jim Carrey just comes in and like takes command of the screen. He just like totally
every
owns
scene.
it. So
Every
yeah,
fucking
just like
scene.
every scene. Yeah. So, yeah, so I love that. But yeah, I think it's gonna stay in S tier. So yeah. So is it your turn, Austin?
Yeah. I'll go with one more. I think pretty clear S tier that we haven't mentioned, where he's basically doing a dual role, where one's a little more subdued, one's a little shy, one's a little a nerdy guy, and one's very over the top. Obviously, that's The Mask, and I think The Mask is another pretty clear S tier '90s movie. It's my I always had to mention it's my dad's favorite Jim Carrey movie. He thinks this movie is amazing. Don't get me wrong, I do too.
Nice.
But yeah, like. But I also think it's a great comic book movie, which a lot of people forget that it's based on a comic book. And you know, I think it's super fun, mainly because of the dynamic of the Stanley Ipkiss character, you know, turning into the Mask, and we get to see a lot of him, you know, before that just being this kind of shy, nice guy, kind of a pushover, you know, and his transformation into this over the top, you know, wild ladies man, you know, the Mask. I think it's easily one of the best debuts of a female star ever. Cameron Diaz's entrance in this movie is still one of the greatest of all time for any, like, one of the hottest, sorry, may sound a little misogynic, but she's damn hot in this movie. And when she comes in that skirt, it's like one of the greatest entrances ever. But I think she's genuinely good in the movie as well. But it's got a good little side cast with Richard, what's his name, the comedian that passed away. That's like his buddy at the bank, is good. But I like the two cops. I like the two cops as well. The Doyle and the other dude, like, chasing after him, are a lot of fun too. You know, just a lot of great, memorable, fun over the top sequences, and I think the effects still hold up a lot too. A lot of it's very cartoony, but that's the point, is that he's literally a literal cartoon character when he turns into the Mask. So I just think it's a lot of fun. It's a good little story, and the dude from Pulp Fiction who plays the villain, I'm forgetting his name, is a creepy dude as well. He makes a pretty good bad guy. So
Makes a really good
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go S tier. He always plays a bad guy, but yeah, S tier for the Mask.
Yeah. The Mask, yeah, it's a fun movie. Like, just kind of seeing the like juxtaposition of like the nerdy guy to this over the top, and him just kind of like throwing out just all these like wacky kind of like cartoony lines. Where it's like, look at that! It's exactly 3 seconds before I honk your nose and pull your underwear over your head or whatever. Just like like all these like random quotes, and then you also have Ben Stein in there where he's like, "We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking." Or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, The Mask is a lot of fun. I wish I would have been able to see it in theaters. I always, I told the story probably multiple times that I went to go see it as a kid and it was sold out, so I had to go see In the Army Now with Pauly Shore. Wah, wah.
Wrong choice.
Yeah, that was the only other movie that wasn't sold out that night. So, but The Mask is a lot of fun, especially. It's a movie that like appeals to like every generation. Like, it appeals to kids. It appeals to like young adults, old adults, like pretty much everyone. So yeah, I'd say S tier for The Mask, because like it's one that just really let Jim Carrey's kind of like over the top comedic chops really shine. So yeah, I gotta go S tier for The Mask.
I forgot to mention it's directed by my boy Chuck Russell, who did Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors, and the Blob remake, which I love so much. I love that Blob remake as well. So yeah, it's my boy Chuck Russell killing it in those three movies. Yeah,
nice. Well, Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Chuck Russell definitely shows why he's just really just a great comic book guy. But yeah, the Mask. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. And that's very sad, and I need to revisit it. But I remember watching it as a kid, and I know some of my, family members who were also children at the time were actually pretty scared by it. Like, the way the Mask grabs hold of them and takes them over and stuff. There's some kind of creepy elements for kids in this, but I think as a movie, I can't really super judge it, as like a plot or anything like that. But I remember that it's just so iconic, and it definitely should be up there, I think, with some of his best, because it is like a great like comic book film with him in the lead role. I mean, you got, smoking and, stuff like that is just so
Somebody
iconic.
stop
And
me. Like all
even
those, yeah.
somebody stop me. And even the dog gets to wear the mask at one point, and
that stuff's fun. Yeah, you get to see the mask on different people, the dog, and then even when Peter Green, who I looked him up because I was trying to remember his name, Peter Green from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Even when he puts it on, like he's kind of freaky, and like he's like getting shot and just like sucking up the bullets and like spitting them back, and like he's got like fire in his eyes. Like it gets kind of creepy how it kind of reacts with every person. Yeah, it's fine. And the less said about Son of the Mask with Jamie Kennedy, the better. The less said about the movie.
So I mean, honestly, I would just say two more things. One, I really need to revisit this movie because it's a crime that I haven't seen it in a very long time, and I'm fine with it being an S tier because it's iconic.
Yeah, and I think that Son of the Mask, we did like the
worst movie tournament fights.
The worst movie of all time. I think it won it. I think. Yeah.
No, Norbit won, but I think it was in the poll. I think it made it pretty far. Yeah. And by the way, Chad, if you have
at least.
Yeah, if you have HBO Max, The Mask is on HBO Max. So give it a rewatch. Give it a rewatch, sir. It's well worth it. It's well worth a revisit. It's better. It's better than even the story. Like I said, even the stuff where he's Stanley Ipkiss, like the kind of nerdy, shy, bank teller guy. Like I like his character. I mean, he's a nice guy and he's just trying to struggle in with the ladies and things like it. It's fun. Good stuff.
Yeah, for some reason, I always remember like at the end when he's like talking to Cameron Diaz, he's like, "All in a day's work for anyone with balls of steel," and then they're like making out for like 2 or 3 minutes straight as the camera pans out. They just keep going and going and going. Yeah, it's good stuff. But Jordan, what do you think for The Mask?
All right, this hot take in this room. I don't love The Mask as much as everyone else here. I like it. It's good. It's the lower tier. It's a lower tier, higher tier Carrey for me. If that makes sense. I just think some of the tone stuff is kind of off, and it doesn't hold up for me as much as his other ones. I'm definitely jumping to a rewatch of Ventura or Dumb and Dumber, Lion Liar way quicker than a rewatch of The Mask here for me. So for me, it's a high B.
All right. We got enough S's, I think, to maybe keep it at like a low S, though. I feel like.
At this point, we're borderlining some S tiers, so I think it'll hang in there because some of those other ones will get bumped up. But but it had enough. Well, at this point, we're down to 4 people, so 3 S's is pretty significant when we're down to 4 people. So as opposed to 6.
Right. Well, I guess I'm up next.
So Jordan, you might be the last one. We're coming up on 2 hours, and then we'll jump to Hail Mary because there's not a whole lot of actual movies left. So I think we'll get to you, and then we'll just kind of jump to our final mentions and start to wrap it up because we're down to this is the lowest we've ever been down as far. So we're only at two layers of movies left.
Right.
So
there's only 2 layers left. So I think if I had to pick one that's left, though, like I think I want to go with Me, Myself, and Irene. Like this movie, just like it really cracks me up. Like just seeing him. Just kind of snap and like start calling people fucker and asshole and like all this stuff like out of nowhere. He's like saying it to little kids, like peeing in people's gas things, or like they're taking a big shit on someone's lawn, or like when he's in the like grocery store and he's like grabs the like the overhead speaker mic, price check on Vagisil.
Yeah.
Like badge check on Vegiclean, price check on Vegiclean. She's baking bread in sourdough.
And then the whole scene where his wife gives birth, but he's like cheating on him with like the
little person.
The little person, and he's black too, so the baby comes out black, and he's like, "Oh, right." Just seeing like his reaction, he's like, "Whoa!" So
Tony Cox, man. Tony Cox, one of the goats, like little people actors. Like he's great. Like Tony Cox is
Bad
awesome.
Santa
and everything. Bad Santa. Yeah, he's great.
So like for me, Me, Myself, and Irene, like I'd put it in the S tier. Like I actually really like Me, Myself, and Irene. Even like Renee Zellweger, like it's actually one of my performance from her that I like better. Like when he wakes up in the hotel room and he's like, "Honey, why am I peeing like I was up all night having sex?" And his pee stream's going like like off to the side or something. yeah, but it's like other personality. So yeah, like I think that I put it in the S tier, maybe a little lower on the S tier, but I'll put it on the S tier, sure. But Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this one, I love the concept so much of like the weird, like kind of split personality, and I just love the way that Jim Carrey does it. It just plays to his strengths so much, where he can, actually have those two sides and just be like that, crazy character and then the subdued character. I love like his relationship with like, Anthony Anderson and all of his kids. Is just really, really funny. Just a lot of the concepts and the jokes in the movie, I'll say they don't hold up in like the politically correct like landscape that we have today. But like if you look back and you don't care about that stuff, it's still really, really funny. There's some jokes that don't really hold up for me personally, but I think as a whole, it's just a really funny movie. Kind of dark at times, and just like it's just a very strange one. But I love the concept so much. This really influenced me when I thought about like maybe like writing screenplays at one point. I was like, just I love the concept of the duality there, and so anyways, yeah, I'd probably put it in like more so like A.
Yeah. Sounds good. Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm a little more along the lines of kind of where Chad was leaning towards. It's a bit of a mixed bag. There's some really kind of inspired, fun stuff here. Again, I can see why Carrey would be attracted towards the script, because he does get to play a couple of very diverse characters here, and some stuff really works. Some gags don't, and I don't think they even necessarily. Some stuff here didn't even work even back in the day. I thought it was kind of a mixed bag where there's highs and there's lows as far as the movie goes. So it's good, but not S tier, at least for me. I'd say it's right in that high B again for me.
Sure, yeah. Well, Austin, what do
Yeah,
think?
it's funny. It's not one of the ones I go back to a lot, but every time I watch it, I laugh myself stupid with Me, Myself, and Irene. Like I don't know why I don't go back to it as much. So yeah, I'll go S tier. Like what Chad was talking about. There's definitely some politically incorrect humor that doesn't hold up as well. I think there's a bit where like one of the side guys is like, "Oh, hey, did you hear my son Billy got the lead in the musical?" And he's like, "Well, I guess he likes the cock after all." Shit like that. like there's stuff like that that's like. Yeah. But when you're watching the movie, like if you're not laughing, like that shit's fucking funny. Like just because I think the guy's kind of an asshole anyway, so like it's whatever. But there's some good stuff. Like all the stuff where he's Hank is a lot of fun. But I even like just the stuff where he raises the three kids, like the three black kids that aren't, like he raised them as sons and they love him as a dad. Like I like their relationship together, like and they bond and they love him as his dad and they treat him as his dad. Yeah, like. They dig him and like I think there's a sweet undertone to it, if not a very crass movie, but I think given what we have left, it's still a cut above. So I'll go again. It'd be a lower S tier for me too, like maybe like that 9 or 10 slot. But I'll go S tier for Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yeah, well, we got 2 S's, an A, and a B. I mean, I don't know if we want to leave it there. If we only have 4 people, or we want to put it in the A. I don't know.
Well, some of these A's I feel are going to get bumped up anyways, so we'll kind of vote on which ones should get bumped up, but we'll see. I mean, we can put it at the top of A for now, but some of these are probably going to get bumped up here in a minute, so we'll see. Because we have to have 10 in the S tier, So what we'll do is we're just over the 2-hour mark now, so what we'll do is we'll go around the horn. And for anybody who doesn't know, this is our kind of Hail Mary last second round. So basically, I'll just go around and just name any of the movies you think still on the list that you want to shout out for either the A or the S tier. Like we're just looking for the good stuff you think deserves a shout out. And if I have crossover, if we have more than one mention of that movie, we'll go around and give it an official ranking, if that makes sense. So that's just kind of what I'm looking for. So we will, let me write your names down real quick on here so I can jot them down as you go. Real quick. All right, so we'll go around the horn. So, Chad, is there any movie still on the list that you think deserve either an A or an S tier vote still on the list? And you can shout out as many as you want.
Yes. I would put okay, so for the A, I would put Bruce Almighty. I would put Sonic, and I know I'm in the minority here. I would also put the How the Grinch Stole Christmas. In the A, I would put all those in the A tier.
All right, that's fair.
Nothing else I would put in the S.
Okay.
All right.
No, fair enough. And if they have like I said, if they and people can shout out the same movies if they have crossover, that's what I'm looking for, so that we'll go and do an official vote. So, Jordan Owens, anything you want to shout out on the list?
If we need to, I could argue for A Christmas Carol or Bruce Almighty, but they're probably more like B's for me. I'm pretty set.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, Austin.
Yeah, I'd maybe go a slight A for Bruce Almighty. And then that's really about it for me, honestly. I'm not as high on Sonic as a lot of other people are, and I don't like the Grinch. So, yeah, it's I don't think that would get very far, but that's just me personally. But maybe I think Bruce Almighty's worth a mention because it was kind of another sort of comeback comedy vehicle for him after he kind of did his dramatic stint for a little while.
Yeah. Well, for me, I definitely shout out Bruce Almighty. Like that one's like a high A, maybe even a low S for me. And then I'd probably I would say Sonic too. Like that's a definite A for me. And then I'll just give some love to Simon Birch. I know it's not really like much of a Jim Carrey movie. Like he does narrate and he's in the beginning and the end. But it's like pretty heartfelt though, and like there's some lines that like make me laugh pretty good, but they're not really anything from Jim Carrey. But I'll still give it an A tier as an overall movie. So.
Yeah, Chad, he's like third billed in that movie, so I had to include it. Like he plays the adult version of the Simon Birch character or whatever. So like he's like third billed, so I had to include it as a Jim Carrey movie, even though you don't think of it as a Jim Carrey movie. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the lines that I always quote though whenever I go into cold water, where he's like, the two best friends are like, my balls are shrunk into raisins. My balls are shriveled into BBs, and they're like freezing in the water. I always like repeat that, but yeah. So, but anyway.
TMI.
Right.
Okay. So I think I just got like two movies out of that we'll just do a quick vote on because we got time. So I think we'll vote on Bruce Almighty and Sonic the Hedgehog if that's fair. So Chad, what do you think about Bruce Almighty? Where would you put it?
Bruce Almighty. I thought that would be an A.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's I just don't. It's not like a masterpiece or anything like that. But like I remember it being like a really funny movie. I just love the concept of Jim Carrey as like the new God after Morgan Freeman was God, and there's just a lot of like really trippy visual effects, like the hand with like the 10 fingers on it or something like that. It's just it's just like a really fun movie, I thought, especially with the age I was. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Jordan Owens, Bruce Almighty.
Like I said, I don't mind it. Yeah, if we bump it up to A, I do enjoy it. Just also another one that's a pretty easy rewatch if you look for something to have fun with. I'd say it's a high B for me though.
Well, Austin.
Yeah, I'd give a solid A to Bruce Almighty. I definitely like the first hour more than the last like 40 minutes or so when it gets a little over melodramatic in the final part, with him and Morgan Freeman. I think it's just and the breakup of him and Jennifer Aniston, it just gets a little too. It was when he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do some damn drama in this movie." It's like, "Oh yeah, but like stick to the comedy because that's the best stuff." But a lot of stuff in the first half where he's playing with his powers and the scene between where he's controlling Steve Carell is really really great. But, the like just doing the like I like do it a cha-cha, like all that shit is like really funny. So but all the stuff's a lot of fun. So I give it like a solid A, like a mid-tier A, something like that.
Yeah, for me, like I'd give it probably like a high A, like maybe right at the top of A. Like the scene that which cracks me up is like when he's like playing with his power and like he's like confronting those guys in the alleyway. He's like, "Yeah, man," and a monkey will fall out of my butt, and then like he like makes a monkey like like crawl back up his butt, and he's like, yo, man, did that monkey just come out your crack, man, or whatever. So like for some reason that like always cracked me up. So and then just like the way that he just plays around with it with his powers, like it's a fun time. So yeah, I'll give it an A. Yeah.
All right, nice. All right, so yeah, 3 A's and a B. I think you can pump it up in the A. Like I said, we'll play around with these things, what gets bumped up, and what'll be the honorable mentions here in a few minutes. But and the only one, we'll vote on Sonic the Hedgehog. So Chad, have you seen Sonic? And if you would shout it out.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know like this one came out and like, you know, because like with the whole controversy about like how Sonic looked, and you know, then they corrected it, thank God. It would have been a horror movie otherwise. But yeah, when it finally came out, you know, I think it was a really solid, fun movie. I don't think it was like a great movie or anything like that, but yeah, I wouldn't put it as low as like a B. I think it's got a lot going for it. And I'm excited to see the sequel to it. And honestly, like I think, like, you know, since this is a Jim Carrey ranking, I think Jim Carrey is one of the best parts of it, because just a lot of his just bits, and it's just kind of like a return to form for him, and you know, come like a comeback pretty much. And it was after like Dumb and Dumber 2 and stuff like that, when you're like, all right, Jim Carrey's done. And then back in Sonic, and you're like, oh no,
it's after Dark Crimes.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely A tier, not S tier for me.
Okay, all right, Jordan.
Well, what movie are we talking about now?
Sonic.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I had fun with it. Obviously, he's busting his ass and being the Jim Carrey that we kind of want to see in movies like this. So it is surpassed my expectations. I think a lot of people's expectations, especially after we saw what Sonic looked like in that first trailer. But they course corrected how he looked, and Jim Carrey was always funny from the get go. I can't go A or S. It's a low B. It's not something I'm gonna jump to. But I think it's a great film. I know my niece really liked it. If she was here, she'd say yes.
Yeah.
One of the jokes in it that I love is when he like asked his assistant to make him a drink, and he's like, "I love the way you make them."
Yeah.
I'm actually excited to see him and the assistant back again.
Yeah, but Austin, what do you think for Sonic?
Yeah, the movie. I watched it not too long ago. I liked it overall. I thought it was entertaining enough. I wasn't completely on board with these people who were like, "It's amazing. It's the best video game movie ever." No, let's cool off a little bit. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I think people had a little fonder memories because it was like the last movie they saw before everything got like locked down and everything went crazy. So they just have like fond memories of going to the theater. To me, it's like a B movie. I think it's B. I will say Jim Carrey's fun, and I like seeing him look like he's having a good time and kind of back in form. I'm actually looking forward to the sequel. I want to see him with the full bald head and the crazy like 10-foot long mustache and all that kind of stuff, like looking like classic Robotnik. Like I'm down for that, and being even the prospect of him coming back for that planet being even more kind of mentally unstable and crazy. Like I think it could be a lot of fun, you know, kind of from being stuck there. So, you know, I'll see it, but it's still like a B for me, like overall.
Yeah, for me, like I actually had a lot of fun with Sonic. Sorry, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze or something, but it might be a false alarm. but yeah, like it's like I was really, really surprised. I went in really with pretty low expectation, because most video game movies are usually horrible, and we actually have best video game movies coming up for a tournament fight. So I mean, it might be one of the higher ranked ones, sadly enough. But
it's at least it's not the tier ranker, because coming up with an S tier for video game movies would be a real stretch. The tournament fights, we'll see what comes out on top.
but yeah, like I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. Like I actually really like Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic, and then like his chemistry with James Marsden, I thought was a lot of fun. And so yeah, like I'm actually excited for the sequel, and like I was a huge Sonic fan growing up, and for me, it was return to form for the classic Jim Carrey. Like I was like, Jim Carrey still got it. He's got to do some more these kind of goofball off the wall movies still. So like, I hope we get a few more out of him before he gets too old. But yeah, I really liked it, and like, man, like, I feel kind of weird giving it an S tier, like, but like I actually liked it like almost that much. But I'll give it a high A, I think. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, it's split, but I think it's enough to maybe scoot it into low A for now, and we'll see where it ends up. It could end up in honorable mentions. We'll see. All right, so we got to play around with this a little bit because we need 10 in the S tier. So we got to figure out which 4 will get the bump. So we'll maybe kind of I don't know how we want to do it. Like maybe just go around the horn and see which 4 get nominated, maybe from each person to get the bump, and then maybe see kind of majority rule situations. So, Chad, if you were to bump up 4 into the low S tier, what would you bump? What would be your 4 favorites out of this, or the ones you think are higher than the others?
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah.
4 into the S tier.
So basically, 4 from that A tier that would get the bump, like what you think deserves to be kind of bumped.
Yeah. So they mostly come from the
movies.
I would go.
Yeah.
I would go The Cable Guy, Batman Forever.
Just the A's, I think.
Just the A's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Batman Forever had too much all over the place to get really bumped up into the S. So just kind of give it
The Cable Guy, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, Me, Myself, and Irene, Bruce Almighty.
Okay. All right. Jordan.
I'll go for Man on the Moon, I Love You, Philip Morris, The Cable Guy, and Bruce Almighty.
Okay. I will go Man on the Moon, Philip Morris, Me, Myself, and Irene, and fuck it, Bruce Almighty. Why not?
Yeah.
Almost together.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think that, well, like, you know me, I'm going to go When Nature Calls. So, but, and then probably Me, Myself, and Irene, The Cable Guy. And, like, beyond that, those are like my, like, solid 3. If I had to go with one more, I'd probably go Sonic, I think. So.
Okay, so, all right. Cable Guy had 3 mentions, so Cable Guy will probably get a bump.
Yeah.
Overall.
We do that.
All right. Cable Guy got a bump, yeah. Let's see. I think Man on the Moon had enough mentions, so Man on the Moon will probably get a bump.
Okay.
And then it's funny because me and Jordan Anderson said Me, Myself, and Irene, but we were the only 2.
We had 2 for When Nature Calls.
Or I forget. Chad, which ones did you say again?
I said Batman.
Cable,
Forever.
Ace.
Like
you said Cable, Ace Ventura, Me, Myself, and Bruce Almighty, right? Okay.
Yes.
So Me, Myself, and Irene, I think we'll get a bump because that had enough mentions.
Yeah.
And then I think Bruce Almighty had enough mentions to get a bump as well. I think Bruce will get a bump.
Was there 3 of them, or was there 2 of them?
I think there was 3 because I said that. I think Jordan Nolan said it, and I think there was enough for Bruce.
Yeah.
So
all right, that sounds good.
But here's the thing. To be fair, out of the A's, I think Yes Man was the only one that didn't get enough really high praise. You could bump Sonic into that, and then we would have our 3 honorable mentions, and then everybody would be happy because Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls will get an honorable mention, Philip Morris will get an honorable mention, and Sonic will get an honorable mention. I think that's fair. And then there you go. Because Chase was the only one who was super high on Yes Man. He had the S, but everybody else was kind of like B or A. I think that's solid there. So I think from there we'll go and actually play around with the S tier. So I think, well, let me go back to the votes and see and what we originally had. So Truman Show had a sweep. Dumb and Dumber had a sweep. Dumb and Dumber had a sweep. So Dumb and Dumber might have to get bumped up a little bit.
Yeah.
A complete sweep as far as had all 6 S tiers. So to be fair,
do you have any other sweeps?
Eternal Sunshine had 4 S's and 2 B's, and Liar Liar had 4 S's and 2 A's. So Liar Liar probably gets the bump over Eternal.
Liar,
yeah. Oddly enough, according to the votes. And then Ace Ventura Pet Detective had an all sweeps, but only with 4 people. We didn't get to all 6. So it probably
might put it above.
Yeah.
Eternal Sunshine, maybe. I don't know.
But I don't know where Chase and Malcolm would have ranked it if they were still here. I don't know. So because of that, just because it has as maybe stays in the 5 tier, but yeah.
But they're not here.
Mask.
Their vote doesn't count. You leave.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
but well, we could vote on the top 2 that had the clean sweeps. I mean, just to see which one goes in the number 1 slot.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. So we'll go around the horn. Truman Show or Dumb and Dumber, Chad? That's the number 1.
Oh, Dumb and Dumber.
Yep.
Jordan?
I gotta go Truman Show.
Yeah.
Truman
Austin?
for me. Truman is his best.
And I would vote Dumb and Dumber. So we got a tie.
It's all nothing.
It's all for nothing. Yeah, I kind of figured that would happen. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm channeling my inner Malcolm. Truman Show.
Is there anyone in the chat that's like listening? You want to like chime in and for like
Hey,
Dumb and Dumber or the Truman Show? Yeah.
You just said it. Do it.
Hey.
If anyone's listening.
He's here.
He's actually here. What the heck?
I just so happened to be backstage.
Yeah. They gave him creative control for some of this stuff. So like he just add himself in, I guess. I didn't even know that was possible. But...
Show.
So you're gonna go Truman Show? All right.
I am gonna go Truman Show.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just leave you as the voice of God for now. So
It's probably the better movie.
Right.
Yeah. Somehow your voice is in, but not your video. I don't even know how
I'm kind of fine where everything else is, honestly, because as far as for Jim Carrey stuff, I'm kind of fine with most of the other rankings.
Top 7,
it's a solid 10. I think there's enough
I mean,
diverse performances in there that I'm okay with it. So
I mean, yeah, like I'm not huge on the Man in the Moon, but I mean, like to really mess with it that much.
But his commitment to it is like was something, and then you pair it with that documentary, it's really interesting, and the amount of work he put into that was fair enough.
And it's a full story too. Like I mean, you get the sad moment at the end with Andy Kaufman, and it's a really good biopic.
Yeah.
Good cast too. Danny DeVito and Paul Giamatti are great in that movie. Like there's a lot of good stuff going for it. So
Jerry Lawler as Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler, yeah, and David Letterman as David Letterman, yeah. Oh, good
Jim
stuff.
Ross.
I do kind of feel
Yeah.
like I'd move the mask a little lower. That's just me. Like I'm not.
No.
Compared to the
I think
rest.
the mask.
I would move the mask and
great.
Cable Guy lower, but I mean, I'm fine with it.
I mean, yeah, for me, I like Me, Myself, and Irene like better than Cable Guy. And
I would put Cable Guy lower personally for me as well, but
yeah.
But I mean, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we can just leave it. I mean, I think that's solid without really messing.
it looks okay to me, and then I think the 3 honorable mentions are pretty fair to everybody. So everything, those 3 get a nice honorable slot. So
yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
Well, as a co-host, you want to break it down?
All right, yeah, we'll break it down, and this is kind of where we ended up. So for tier ranker Jim Carrey, we got number 1, The Truman Show, number 2, the 1984 Dumb and Dumber, number 3, Liar Liar, number 4, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, number 5, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, number 6, The Mask, number 7, The Cable Guy, number 8, Man on the Moon, number 9, Me, Myself, and Irene, and number 10, Bruce Almighty. And our 3 honorable mentions for the evening: Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, I Love You, Philip Morris, and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Good job, guys. Nice.
Cool. All right.
All right.
So those will be in the poll tomorrow over in the Schmodown Friends and Family, so you can go vote and voice your opinion over there. So yeah. Let's see. All right. So yeah, that'll do it for us tonight. So we'll just go around the horn. You can let us know where we can find you if you have anything you want to promote. So we'll start with Chad. Where can we find you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all around kind of like trivia, trying to expand where I play trivia, but I'm mostly over in TMG a lot, playing tournaments and stuff. I do Movie Battlegrounds, which is a really fun debate show. Austin's in that, Jordan's in that. Actually, both Jordans are in that. Everyone here is in that. Yeah, I also do a new kind of show with Hunter Chambliss and my wife Carrie. We all do like a horror kind of thing over on Hunter's channel. We're actually recording tomorrow. We try to do it like every Wednesday live, talk about like horror news and stuff. I also like rank stuff on my channel, but I don't have a lot up there yet. I just got like Edgar Wright and Christmas. For now, I'm trying to get a Harry Potter one up. It's just my name, Chadwick Webb. But then also a big show that I do that's the biggest thing I promote is over on the Dill Pickle Movie Network. I do a show called Picture This with my buddy Dylan Randazzo. We basically every month we go through a year of the Oscars. We talk about the nominees of that year, including the winner. We rank them. We talk about the actors and actresses from that year, the year itself, and we just have a really good time, just highlighting a lot of these films. And it's really fun. We are doing, I believe, 1967 this month, in light of Sidney Poitier passing away. We're doing the Oscars. The nominees just dropped. A lot to talk about there. We're doing so 2021 movies next month. And then last month we did 1980 with a guy who's around here sometimes, Dan Skip Allen. That was a really fun convo with him talking about 1980. So that's pretty much it for me.
Well, Chad, was that so? Y'all are doing the movies of '67, the '68 Oscars, as far as like the movies of '67, for Indie Heat of Night and things like that. Yeah,
the films of '67.
Right. I was only going to mention that there's a great book called Pictures at a Revolution that you would probably really love. It's a book about the 1968 Oscars and the year of 1967 specifically, about how that was kind of a turning point in movies, about how you started having these revolutionary kind of new, groundbreaking films, and then Dr. Dolittle all mixed in. So it's like old Hollywood versus new Hollywood, like creeping in, and old Hollywood trying to hang on to it. So it's about those nominees that year. It's about In the Heat of the Night, Bonnie and Clyde, The Graduate, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Like you have these like four kind of revolutionary, groundbreaking movies that started to usher in stuff, and then also the old school Dr. Dolittle just like hanging on in there for a Best Picture nominee. So it would make for a good discussion. If you get a chance to read it before the thing, it's a really good companion piece. So it's called Pictures at a Revolution.
Really good take. It kind of reminds me of like even earlier with like Singing in the Rain and like The Artist and stuff like that. It's kind of the similar.
Yeah. It's just like you have stuff like Bonnie and Clyde going up against Dr. Dolittle. It's like this silly old comedy, and then like a movie that changed cinema, and then Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, all that kind of stuff too. So and how Hollywood was changing, and they were kind of pushing back against it. So it's a good little watch, or a good little read, excuse me. So just a good recommendation if you're doing that year.
And Jordan, where can we find you?
Find me all over the interwebs, YouTube, of course, the Pierce Go channel. We do some movie trivia over there, movie podcast, a show about shows. The Pierce Wrestling channel, do some wrestling trivia there. Exclusive wrestling matches you won't find anywhere else. Real Pro Wrestling, we're coming back pretty strong. February 25th. We're in Punta Gorda, Florida. March the 6th, we're in Fort Myers. March the 19th, we're in Ave Maria, Florida. So, if you're anywhere near any of those towns, come check us out live. I'll be at all of them. I've been in every one of those 80-plus shows. Nice. And of course, you'll find me on here, man. Always happy to be on here or Tournament Fights. Me and Jacob Barber do a podcast every 7 months about wrestling. You'll find me on that the debate show as well. Maybe I'll find one of these guys one day and we'll debate movies over on that other channel. And just all around, follow me on Twitter at JPierceO. And call your uncle. He misses you.
Sounds good. I'm Austin.
And Jordan, I think your top 64 is coming up next month on March 4th, so it's coming up soon.
For that.
Yeah, on Tournament Fights. Nice. All right, very nice.
Maybe we'll see some of these movies there.
Maybe. Ooh, yeah. I also do a show with Jacob Barber, who popped in for a second, called A Podcast About Movies. We just dropped one about we did kind of an A to Z thing where we just each picked a movie from A to Z for each letter of the alphabet, just to recommend something random. So I ended up going a little heavy on the animal attack creature features. So if you like some of those movies, I recommended a bunch of those. Yeah, we had a good time with that, and we're going to be talking about unsung or underrated sequels on our next show. So not the typical like Terminator 2, Dark Knight, we all know those are great sequels, like just other ones that we want to shout out and think are really good. So that's going to be a fun episode. And then Let's Rank stuff this Wednesday. We're probably going to go actually live after Tier Ranker fights this Wednesday because he's working a little later. So we'll be doing Tier Ranker Winter Sports and then probably jumping on doing Let's Rank stuff with me and Henry Confidential. We'll be doing Alien versus Predator. So all the Alien and Predator movies in one big ranking. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that.
Nice. Yeah, and you can find us on all the social medias at Movie Hero 2121. We even have an email account. If you go to moviehero2121@gmail.com, if you ever have any topics that you have ideas for on the show, you can hit us up there or on any of the social media. You can find our poll with the lead or no, I'm thinking tournament fights. You can find it with the top 10 and the honorable mentions is what it is. Yeah. But you can find those probably tomorrow about midday or so. And you can go vote over
if I remember to do it, and then Facebook. Sometimes I do it the day after. I apologize.
Yeah.
when I'm not tired.
We get it up there as soon as we have time to
I'll do it as soon as I
can. Yeah, but and also if you haven't hit the subscribe button, we've been doing a big push for subscribers. We'll be doing another giveaway once we hit 200 subscribers, so you can watch for that. And then also just some of the topics we have coming up. We're doing a big week this week because we had to reschedule one of our shows from last week. So we're coming in a little heavy. We're going to have 3 shows this week, but that's going to be including today. Then tomorrow night we're going to be doing our best winter sports movies that Austin already kind of mentioned. And then on Friday at the same time, we're going to be doing best movies set mostly in one location. So they take primarily like in the same spot. And then just a couple episodes that we have coming up too. We're going to be doing a little best rom-com tournament for Valentine's Day. We're going to be kicking that off the day before Valentine's Day. Then
the day after Valentine's Day, 15th.
Oh yeah, for some reason I have it here as the 13th, but that's not right. It's actually the 15th. But then, but yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also that Friday we're going to be continuing our Oscar series. So we're going to be doing best picture Oscar nominees from 2003 to 2012. We'll be talking about all of those ones and doing a little tournament fights for that one. And then we also have our comedy championship coming up. So we're going to take the top 10 from all of our comedy decade show, and we're going to put them into a tier ranker. That'll be a tier ranker fights for the best comedies of all time. So you may see maybe a couple of Jim Carrey movies in here. We'll see. But
I believe he had, Dumb and Dumber and Liar Liar might have made it from the 90s, I believe, in our 90s comedy championship. So he's definitely got some contenders in there. And we'll see if Dumb and Dumber makes the top 10 of all time. In addition to the 90s. Yeah.
For me, it might. Like, it's pretty high up there, but we'll see. But and then we also have best TV sitcoms of the 2000s coming up, and then we're also doing our tournament fights on the best comic book movies set in a shared universe. So we're gonna be doing like Marvel, DC, like all the X-Men movies, all of that stuff in a tournament fight. So because we already did the ones that are outside of that universe, so we're now going to do the ones in the universe. So
literally, we said like, Avengers Endgame and Dark Knight and stuff always win, these tournaments if they're in there. Well, not necessarily if they're against all the other MCU movies and all the other DC movies, and all the other X-Men movies, all against each other. You put Dark Knight up against you put Dark Knight up against Days of Future Past or Spider-Man, No Way Home or something in like the first or second round, and one of them might not even make it out. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
You can have a lot of chaos for that,
or even stuff like Spider-Man 2 or stuff like Batman '89. Things. There's some wild cards there. There's some fun stuff. So you never know.
Yeah. So there's some things that you can watch for. And if anyone wants to be a part of any of those, we got a couple open slots on some of them. There's a few that are full, but you can just hit me up and I'll let you know what we have available. So, but yeah, that'll do it for us tonight. So that was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks again for jumping on with us, and for Chad, for Jordan, for Austin, for Malcolm, for Chase. I've been Jordan Movie Hero Anderson, and we will see you guys next time.